head's as big as mine now, so.
He does have a surprisingly big head.
He does.
For a non-sturdy boy.
Try to help somebody out, you know.
Back in the saddle again, ladies and gentlemen. We are back 3 days in Charlotte, North Carolina, leads us here to a Friday afternoon edition of the Rob Brown Show. This is the Fan Upstate. Howdy, y'all. Yeah.
A little rusty. A little rusty.
You went back to back, yes. I got to have my gap to do my own. Yeah.
It's palsy or something.
Yeah. Oh, it's good to be back. It's good to be back to the chaos. It's good to be back to the uncertainty. Just back to life, friends, as we are back in the palatial Fan Upstate studios in beautiful Greenville, South Carolina, here in the upstate. Great to have you guys along for the ride. I am the effervescent Rob Brown.
That's a good word for you, effervescent.
I could not spell that word if you gave me $1.
See, that's shocking. An intellectual such as yourself should.
I feel like I could.
I bet I know someone who can. You know, the person who memorized the dictionary as a child.
Look it up. Let me see if I can do it. Let's go spelling.
See, here's the thing. In order to look something up, you've got to be able
know
to
how to spell it.
Yeah, well, there's that. Yeah.
I'm gonna go with EFFER.
Okay, I have it.
EFFERVESCENT.
You looked it up.
I did not.
All right, so
is that right?
Yeah, that's right.
Let's go. What a start to the day, boys. What a start to the day here on the show.
When you can prove your intellectual prowess over, quite a few of the listeners, I'm sure.
Take that, internet.
Yeah, including me. I wouldn't have been able to spell it. All I had up there was E.
Just the E.
I thought maybe it was actually a V and people pronounced it with an F, and I was trying to, I was thinking Evanescence, and
Amy.
Yeah, there we go.
Wake me up inside. Banger song, man. I'm happy with that one to be stuck in the old noggin for a while. We've got a lot to get to today on the radio broadcast, ladies and gentlemen. We'll take a look back at the last 3 days of ACC Media Days, not even because of what we did and did not talk about. We got the chance yesterday to sit down and spend a few minutes of quality time with the head coach of the Clemson Tigers, Dabo Swinney, with the starting quarterback.
How much gushing was going on all around the room?
It was not as dramatic as it usually was, but I will say this. All right, I'm gonna give Dabo a bit of credit. All right, he was doing the rounds of interviews, and he was not being followed by the mob. Like last year when he was around, and we did not get the chance to interview him last year. We had DJ, we had Skalski, because we did the hot dog question, which I'll have you all know, I very much planned on asking Cade the hot dog question, but they give you 8 minutes. And when I say 8 minutes, I mean, when that 8 minutes hits on the second hand, the ACC fellas are like, all right, coach, let's go on to the next one. You got 8 minutes, Jack. And so with Dabo, we got 3 questions, right? Mark got a question. I got a question. Mark got a question. I had on deck the question about Ryan Day. Coach, as a coach in major college football, as a coach that is involved in what feels like a really good rivalry now, right? Last couple of years, it hadn't gone great for the Gamecocks, but they sniped you this year. Kind of feels like that rivalry has an opportunity to get back to being a great rivalry. Because let's be real, it's not a great rivalry if you lose so many in a row that you need both hands to count them. Now that it's back to being, or at least feels like a great rivalry, talk to me about the fan perspective versus the coach perspective, it seems to me like it would make a lot of sense to have that rivalry game be played earlier in the year. So there's a recovery period in a game that traditionally you're going to lose half the time, right? And I was very much looking forward to asking him that question. We didn't get a chance. Because the last question, and we'll probably play the interview later in the show, but the last question that Mark Ryan asked was, you spend as much time trying to talk kids, or you've said many times, you spend as much time trying to talk kids out of coming to Clemson as you do into coming to Clemson. Talk to me about why and how that's arranged and why you came to that spot, etc. And Dabo spent like 3.5 minutes answering that question. So we got 3 questions. I did tell Cade that he had big golden retriever energy to get his response to that, primarily because I wanted to see what his response to, it's not meant as criticism. I can't give you a higher compliment than you got big golden retriever energy. There's not a species of animal on earth that I like more than sloths and golden retrievers.
So what would have been an insult? You've got really Chihuahua energy? I mean, I'm just curious, what dog would be an insult?
I don't know if there is one. There's no, like, all dogs are good dogs. Chihuahuas suck.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm thinking,
yeah.
Yappy dog energy.
But I did want to see how he would respond to that. And he was like, yep, I'm cool with that. You're not the first person who said it. We'll play that interview for you later in the show as well. But we got the 3 questions, and that was pretty much it. Then I packed it up and brought it back to the house. So we'll hit those interviews for you later in the show. But when Dabo came over to the table, the last couple of years when Dabo has made the rounds. Now, I do have to say it is different this year, Lonzo, because in years past, there have been 7 teams going on any day, which means you had 7 teams worth of staff and player reps and 7 teams worth of media, because there's a lot of folks who only show up for the day of the school that they like and cover.
Like only showing up for, yeah, okay, all right, I get it.
Yeah. So like there was, for instance, a very well-known FSU podcast that only showed up on Wednesday during FSU's day. They were not there Tuesday, Thursday. They only come for their school. I don't know why why don't you want to cover these are your opponents. Don't you want to know what's going on with all of them? But usually there's a large group of media representatives from around the state of South Carolina and from the upstate of South Carolina that show up on Clemson Day, and then they bail, right? And since we were there all 3 days, we had our spot picked out. In years past, when Dabo is rolled up in there, you knew when he arrived because the media just jumped to it. But I think there were 2 things that changed that this year. I think number 1 is, and these 2 things have nothing to do with Clemson, or at least not directly because of Clemson. I think the first thing is it's now a 3-day event, and there were 5 teams or 6 teams going every day, right? So you had less media members in there because the guys from Louisville and Georgia Tech who were on day 1, they were way gone by day 3. By day 3, they were back at their house drinking bourbon and whatever they drink in Atlanta. Same with day 2. They showed up. They got their love for their school. Then they went home for day 3. I think spreading it out to 3 days kind of decreased the number of people. Like if you're there already and Dabo's there, sure, you're going to go. I think the second thing that happened is, and I spent a lot of time talking to a lot of media reps from around the upstate and from around, well, I guess the country at this event. The second thing that's happening right now is that I think that, as I've mentioned multiple times throughout the week, and we'll fight about this later today, I think the ACC this year has the chance to be as good as it's been in a very long time. And on top of that, there are at a minimum 1 other team, maybe 2 if you believe in the Hurricanes, but at least 1 other team that is threatening Clemson's superiority in the Atlantic Coast Conference this year. Lonzo just going to look me dead in the face and yawn while we're starting?
No.
the show?
I looked at the
Damn,
I looked at the
man.
camera and did that.
Damn,
Looked at the
man.
camera and did that because you can see us on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and Twitter.
Sure can. Search the Fan Upstate on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter, and the Rob Brown Show on Twitch, and you can watch the show all 3 hours of excellence, live and in living color. Have conversations with Lonzo I off the air that we don't have on. We're probably going to get into some aliens and UFO talk because it is now making the rounds on the major news networks. We'll talk about that later, I'm sure, off the air on the stream. Anywho, I think there are some teams in this conference that are creeping towards Clemson's superiority, but I also think there are a few teams in this conference that while they are not on Clemson's level, they're good enough to catch Clemson on a bad day. We had Don Munson. We played that interview for you yesterday, the voice of the Tigers. And I said, look, there's one game on this schedule for Clemson that's not FSU that I find very interesting. It is week 4, week 5, when the Tigers go up to New York and take on Syracuse. And Don went, you are right. That is an interesting game. You've got the FSU game. You've got, North Carolina or whoever as well. You got back-to-back, very emotional, very highly contested games, followed by a trip to Syracuse where weird things happen for the Tigers. And so because there are more teams jumping up, and Clemson, while still being the banner carrier for this conference, they are not the clear-cut and only team in that conference anymore. And I think so you kind of got the attention spread around. So there wasn't the horde of people around, but I will also say he did have the largest contingent of people following him around. And that was no surprise. I will also tell you, and we will play the Will Putnam interview if it sounds good enough. And I don't know if it's going to sound good enough. I actually haven't gotten a chance to go back and listen to it. It was the last interview we cut before I split town yesterday. Lonzo, Will Putnam was the only person I interviewed all week whose mic volume level had to be lower than mine. He was so loud. He gets to the end, and I'm like, dude, I'm not telling you that you need to make the move over to media, because if I did and you do, you might take my job, guy. Like, you are bred for this, man. You are ready. And he kind of laughed, and he's like, all right, bro, let's do a podcast together then. I was like, word, yeah, man. Because, like, a lot of guys say fun stuff just to be nice to the media.
Look at you networking. You're just all over the place.
Will Putnam goes, let's do a podcast. And I'm like, word, dude. Yeah, let's do that. Thinking he's just kind of being funny and nice on the air. We get done with the show or with the interview, and I walk around the table to shake his hand, tell him thanks for his time. And he goes, no, seriously. Reach out to, and he points out the guy who's my contact at Clemson. He's like, reach out to so-and-so. We got a new podcast studio, man. I want you to come up and cut a pod with me. I think it'd be fun. I think it'd be great. Let's talk football. Let's talk fun. I was like, all right, yeah, for sure. So we'll see if we can make that happen. But I will give Dabo the moment, because of all the times that I did a North Carolina and all the times I did a, yeah, Dabo had the most attention-grabbing moment of the weekend. He was on the ACC net with, Mark Richt and EJ Manuel and the whole crew. And they were playing.
And ACC Karen, probably.
She was not there.
So she got promoted.
Yeah, looks like it.
Or she stepped up to the wrong person.
No, she got promoted. So Dabo and group were over at the ACC TV setup on the air, and they were playing this game. They had a wheel of like a spinny wheel. That's the sound of spinny wheel.
Yeah, that's very accurate. That's exactly how that sounds.
So they had the group spin the wheel, and they had things on the wheel, like things the players had to do. Like, one was compliment your rival. You have to say something nice about your rival. One was draw your team's logo from memory on a whiteboard. Like, it was just goofy stuff to kind of get the players to open up a little bit. And I don't know what got spun by Cade Klubnik, but he hit the wheel, and something came up, and I don't know if Cade did it or Dabo just liked the choice that came up or whatever. But Dabo, who is standing in front of the set, by the way, he's not sitting at a chair, standing in front of the set. I just hear, yeah, let's go. And And I look like the whole room looks over. And it's Dabo on TV. I'm like, Dabo just out-Rob Browned me. I just got out-robbed by Dabo Swinney. That's my thing, Dabs.
What's that do to your ego?
It took a little bit of a... Now, in fairness, he's got the leg up advantage there because if he interrupts the TV show, there's no ACC Karen going, get that guy out of here. Who the hell does that guy think he is? Somebody get that guy out. That lunatic's not supposed to be in here making all that noise. And obviously not. I'm just saying, on the hierarchy of important figures in the Atlantic Coast Conference, Rob Brown just ranks like 2 or 3 spots behind William Christopher. So Dabo out-Rob Browned me. And I got to tell you, I wasn't even mad. I was like, you know what? That works. That works. He just got the attention of everybody in this room. We're all paying attention now. We all are about to see what Clemson's doing on TV. That's the game. That's the goal. And he smoked it.
So here's the thing, possibly, and probably, Dabo's listened to the show and he knows how it's done. And so he took inspiration for how you do it. And he was just, it was an homage to Rob Brown. That's what we're going to go with.
Yeah, let's go with that.
Yeah.
Let's go with that. Let's pretend that's it. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we got a lot to get to, a lot to talk about on the radio broadcast today. Joey B, 2 stories about Joe B today. Obviously, the first one carted off of the field at Bengals training camp yesterday with an apparent leg injury. We have heard that it is a calf injury, likely a strain, but I've seen the video a couple of times. It does not look like a muscle strain. It looks like worse. I'm not a doctor. I'm not going to project or prognosticate. It didn't look like what it's being called, but we're going to find out. We'll take a look at it later on in the show. And this is a fun one. Really excited because I bet I'm going to Karnak the Magnificent this later in the show. I'm going to tell you a Joey B story, and I got to find a pen. I'm going to write down my prediction of what Lonzo is going to say in response to it. All right. I'm going to Karnak this thing and I'm going to nail it. So we'll do that coming up later.
Yeah, he shouldn't have did that because I'm going to go completely the opposite because I wouldn't want, that's Lonzo being Lonzo. I'm not going to do that. I'm tired of hearing about that around the building. So I'm about to change my character completely.
Okay.
I'm going to fashion myself after someone who shares is in an office adjacent to ours, and I'm going to be like that guy. And you can try to figure out which guy I'm talking about.
Well, there's only one office adjacent to ours.
Right.
And there's only 2 people that work in it.
Yes.
And there's only one of them that you're willing to emulate, I suspect. So.
You don't know that. you don't know that.
All right. So we'll talk about those things later on in the radio broadcast. I want to get into this Sean Payton, Nathaniel Hackett story because I think everybody's making much ado about nothing. We will talk about that later in the show. The U.S. women's national team plays on Wednesday night to a 1-1 draw against the Netherlands. And I got to tell you, everybody else has been cranking out the articles of, this is exactly what this team needed. I actually lost a little bit of confidence in the chances for another World Cup. We'll talk about that later on in the radio broadcast. Rob Manfred gets himself a major extension from Major League Baseball, and there's a good reason why. We'll tell you what that is later in the show. Speaking of Major League Baseball, on Wednesday, the Angels say, we're not trading Shohei Ohtani. On Thursday, I say that's a terrible idea, and then later in the day, Shohei goes out and pitches Lonzo a 1-hitter complete game win.
That's what you do when the team shows confidence in you and are willing to keep you and back you. Before that, he didn't play with that kind of confidence. You barely knew he was out there. But now that he's got the backing, now he goes out and shows you what he can really do.
You barely knew he was out there. Oh, by the way, he also hit 2 home runs in that game. So, best baseball player ever? Best baseball player ever.
I think there's a divot in the floor over here. Keep finding a spot. I'm not going to take entire credit for it. I'm sure part of it's my fault.
Let's say not.
Well, you've been sitting over here for like a decade, in various forms of me.
And when we come back, Colorado is now a member. Well, not now. They will be at the end of this football season. But Colorado is back in the Big 12. Yeah! It has created a problem for the Pac-12, a massive problem for the Pac-12. They put out a statement that Lonzo's quoting right now. We're going to talk about that in a minute. And yesterday, the Florida State rumor mill cranked up hot and heavy once again. And I'm going to talk about that. A lot of college football in this hour of the show. My name is Rob Brown. That guy over there, that's the great one, Lonzo. You're listening to the Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate.
So it's already being towed.
Okay.
Yeah.
I got to get a pen.
I could lend you my pen if you get. There's actually multiple pens in here, I believe.
Well, I don't have my tablet because my tablet stylus broke and the new one doesn't show up this afternoon, so I have to actually write things.
Oh no.
I know.
Real world problems, people.
Do you have 3 ex-wives and your current trophy wife wants a life insurance policy 3 times the size?
So I started the day with a flat tire. Not good when you're approaching a bridge and your PSI goes down to 4. And it's a narrow bridge and there's a semi next to you and you're praying, please God, don't let me die. Because I've had this fear since I was a little kid. I used to have a nightmare that I'd die on a bridge. So that happening when it happens. This is when it happens. Of course, in that nightmare, which I still remember, there's an alternate version of my mom on the other side driving the exact same car we're driving, and she veers into us and we all die. No, she didn't have a goatee because that would be weird, but her hair was like flailing out like fire starter. The original one with Drew Barrymore, not the remake.
A therapist is going to have a field day with you.
I am not giving them a trilogy, not yet, because that's exactly what they get out of it. You never had recurring nightmares as a kid.
I, honest to God, have not.
Well, good for you. I'm glad you haven't. I've had several, but that one has always stuck with me, and I've had an accident on the bridge once before and thought that was it. And this time, it's like Final Destination. You know, everything's just in the perfect way for you to go, and it's like, oh man, I am so done. But I made it. It stayed at 4 psi till I got to the other side of the bridge, and then I pulled over and it went to 1, and then it went to 0. See, the problem with the therapist, Keegan, is they'll go, that can't be real. That's my concern. For the most part, when I say things, I have corroborated witnesses. Of course, you'd have to believe them too, but you know. Are you guys going to dress like this music tomorrow?
Yes, I'm going to dress like a 1950s drum major.
There you go.
The Rob Brown Show rolls on, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Fan Upstate. I am Rob Brown, the great one Lonzo on the 1s and 2s this AM. You can be a part of the radio broadcast by giving us a shout right now on the fan phone, 844-326-3663, 844-326-3663. You can also shoot us a text if in yont to. The carpro.com text line is open for you at 7130. And of course, you can join the stream, facebook.com/thefanupstate, twitter.com/thefanupstate. Search and subscribe to the Fan Upstate on YouTube or the Rob Brown Show on Twitch. Join in on the stream and have some fun with us. All right, so a lot of movement over the last couple of days We found out on Wednesday evening that the Big 12's leaderboard had unanimously approved Colorado joining as a member, which was very interesting because Colorado had not, A, announced that they were ready to move, or B, turned in any paperwork in either direction to the Pac-12 or the Big 12, stating their intent to move. So we all came in here, myself included, on Thursday and said, all right, this is just the Big 12 basically putting out a notice that, hey, as Brent Yermak has said before, we're open for business, right? We are here to expand. We're ready to expand. We want to expand, but we need some big teams in order to do it. And then yesterday afternoon, we found out, no, yeah, Colorado's moving. Yeah, they're definitely moving over. That is the call out. Colorado will be moving at the conclusion of this football season from the Pac-12, which is now, by the way, going to be the Pac-9, over to the Big 12, which at the start of next year, when the rest of the teams all move in, including Colorado, will now be the Big 14 once again. And here we go again. So Colorado moving from the Pac-12 to the Big 12 for not this upcoming football season, but next year. The Pac-10 is now, Lonzo, I am going to say, not dead, but it's like it's on life support right now. Beep, beep, beep. It's on life support. It's in trouble.
So do the teams go their separate ways, or does another conference just absorb all the teams that are left?
Well, that's very interesting because I want to take you back to 2010 for just a minute. How was 2010 over a dozen years ago?
13 and a half, man.
Time sucks.
As you get older, which you are starting to do, it goes a lot faster.
Oh, I'm painfully aware. I got the email last weekend, Lonzo, inviting me
Please.
to my 20-year high school reunion. 20. That's a 2 and a 0. 20 years. Dude, if I had a kid when I was a senior in high school, that kid would have graduated high school 2 years ago. If I had a kid in high school, that kid had a kid in high school, that kid's kid would be 2 years old right now. What the hell?
I just want to tell you, it's going to be okay. That aging is a part of life. That you're going to progressively reach. Eventually, you're going to be elderly. It's going to happen, but you don't have to act that way. You may feel that way, but you don't have to act that way.
Yeah, I'm doing a good job at not acting, and I'm doing a terrible job of not feeling it.
You're giving all the other Lost Boys a bad look. I mean, that's why we're here, to never grow old.
Back to 2010. In 2010, the Big 12 had a couple of members depart to move over to the SEC. Mizzou and A&M were on the way out. And the rumors were starting to float that Texas and Oklahoma would be next. Now, obviously, that was a ways off in the distance. But there was a lot going on, and a lot of it centered around television rights and payment. Longhorns were working on getting the Longhorn Network up off the ground. The Longhorn Network was going to give Texas a massive advantage over the rest of the Big 12 because not only could they focus and feature the Big 12, the Texas within the Big 12, but on top of that, they had announced that once it got launched, one of the things they wanted to do was to start playing Texas high school football games on the Longhorn Network.
By the way, 2010, the number one song in the nation was Kesha's TikTok, followed by Lady Antebellum's Need You Now, and Train's Hey Soul Sister, and Katy Perry and Snoop Dogg's California Girls.
Don't stop. You ain't got a care in the world, but got plenty of beer. Ain't got no money in my pockets, but I'm already here. And now the boys are lining up because they hear we got swagger, but we kick them to the curb unless they look like Mick Jagger. I know that because we play that and I sing that. I'm very proud of myself.
Oh, okay. All right. See, that's the way to get away with that.
Also, Kesha's dope, so fight me. Kesha's a guilty pleasure, and I don't care what you're going to say.
I don't know why you didn't pick the P. Diddy verse, because that's the only one I know. I've heard the song, but
So after the Longhorn Network fiasco, where everybody else in the Big 12 was like, whoa, you're going, wait, what? Y'all going to do what now? Y'all just going to give yourself the biggest recruiting edge in the Big 12 for what? And by the way, that wasn't even the worst part. The worst part was that because ESPN, who is a partner in the Big 12, in the Longhorn Network, had the media rights to the Big 12, guess what else was going to happen? Texas home games were going to air on the Longhorn Network, including conference games, which meant that if you were at the time, let's say, I don't know, pick me another Big 12 member, doesn't matter which one, and you had a roadie down at Texas, and that game on the Longhorn Network, if you wanted to watch your team play Texas, guess what you had to do? You had to give money to Texas. Not a great look if you're every other team in the conference. Well, at the time that happened and all this was going down, the then commissioner of the Big 12 reached out to the then commissioner of the Pac-12 and had a novel idea, Lonzo. The idea was, let's merge the two conferences. Let's go from Pac-12 and Big 12 to Big Pac-12, because Pac-Big 12 doesn't work as good. We're going to go Big Pac-12, Big Pac-24. Let's merge the conferences. Let's put all of the resources together, and then let's renegotiate a media rights deal together as a joint conference, as a merged conference. And the Pac-12, who at this point are probably kicking themselves in the for not doing it, said, no, we're good. We feel like we're a strong enough conference without you. Now, at the time, they did not know that USC and UCLA were going to be out the door, that Colorado was going to be out the door. They did not know that Oregon and Washington, and probably down the road, Oregon State and Washington State, were all going to have their eyes turned in a different direction. And we'll come back to that in a minute, because in the next segment, I got to talk about the FSU rumors that started swirling yesterday for a crap reason. When all of this started happening, when all of this started going down, the Big 12 sent a request to the Pac-12 and said, let's merge, let's join forces, and let's attack a TV media rights deal together. The Pac-12 said no, and that might go down as the decision that killed the Pac-12. They have lost USC. They have lost UCLA. They are losing Colorado. And by the way, I know Colorado's not a Texas or an Oklahoma. I know they're not a USC or a UCLA, but you know what Colorado is right now? It is a college football program that has generated a lot of hype. It is a college football program that has generated a ton of attention because of their head coaching hire. And I don't think Deion's going to work out. All right? We'll see. I could be wrong, and I'll come back and apologize if I am. But I want you to keep in mind that this past, Tuesday, we had Patrick Everton on, who's a Vegas insider on BetMGM Tonight, which I was filling in for. He is a Colorado Buffaloes fan. He lives in Colorado. He's from there. He went to CU. And so he came on the interview and he had the Buffs hat on. And I'm like, hey, while I got you on the air, let me ask you about that. Buffs, Deion, how we feel? And he said on the air into the ear holes of the nation, Lonzo, he said the over-under opened at 4.5. It has dropped to 3.5, and I think I'm betting the under. It's going to be bad out in Boulder, but it doesn't matter, because whether they go 3-9 or 2-10 or 4-8 or hell 6-6 or 8-4, you know what does matter? The fact that if even only for a single year, we all going to be watching Colorado Buffalo games just to see how Deion does.
So do you expect Coach Sanders to turn things around the first year? It's going to take him a couple of years like most coaches. Or is it because he's primetime Deion Sanders, he's supposed to show up and everything's going to be championship?
I have said, I will say again, Dion lost the right to go, I get 3 years to turn it around when he booted 70 players from the program and brought in his boys. Well, they're your boys. The reason we give a coach a 2-year window and a 3rd-year prove-it season is because that's about how long it takes to cycle out the last guys and get your guys in there to institute your system, your playbook, your methodology. Dion booted 70 guys from the program and brought in his boys. So it's on you now, Coach Prime. It's on you. But listen, regardless, whether I'm right or whether I'm wrong about Colorado, we're still going to be tuning in to watch. We're still going to tune in to find out what happens, how they go, how it goes, et cetera, et cetera. So Colorado right now is a property, an investment property. Because here's the thing. If Dion does work, if this experiment does go right for the Buffs, the Buffaloes now become what Jackson State was to HBCUs last year. I promise you, more people watched HBCU football last year because of Dion than had ever watched before, right? If he does the same thing in Boulder, more people are going to watch Colorado Buffalo football since they did in what? The early 90s? So that's why this move is a legitimate move for the Big 12 to bring in Colorado. Grab that while it's hot. If it doesn't work, whatever. You've had worse options for expansion than Colorado. If it does work for Coach Prime, for Neon Dion, then they just picked up one of the hottest commodities in football, right? So, with that announcement yesterday, the Pac-12 put out this statement. They put out a statement that said, and I quote, "The Pac-12 is comprised of world-leading universities and athletic programs who share a commitment to developing the next generation of leaders, supporting student-athletes' academic and athletic excellence, and broad-based athletic success. We remain committed to our shared values and to continuing to invest in our student-athletes. Today's decision by the University of Colorado has done nothing to disrupt that commitment. We are focused on concluding our media rights deal and securing our continued success and growth. Immediately following the conclusion of our media rights deal, we will embrace expansion opportunities and bring new fans, markets, excitement, and value to the Pac-12, end quote. All right, let's take a minute. Let's take a minute, shall we? Let's just think about this for a second, if y'all will. First statement, first half, first paragraph. All right, dude. Yeah, of course. We're great. Here's all the reasons we're great. You should think we're great too. Of course, man. Of course. If your girl jets on you to go on a date with another dude and you want her to stay, all you're going to do is talk about how great you are.
We'll call that guy beef.
That's beef. No, she leaves for beef. We call this guy Rob. But I have a job. I have a car. I'm relatively handsome compared to a lot of other guys my age. I have a dog. It's a cute dog. Stay with me. Big 12's beef. Mr. Steal Your Girl. Let's look at the second half of this statement for the Pac-12. We are focused on concluding our media rights deal and securing our continued success and growth. Immediately following the conclusion of our media rights deal, we will embrace expansion opportunities and bring new fans, markets, excitement, and value to the Pac-12. All right, fun. Except for Mr. Kliakoff and company. It's a wonderful sentiment, and I wish you the best of luck. However, y'all been working on this deal for about 5 years now. About 5 years now, the Pac-12 has been working on this deal. And in that 5 years, about 5 different times, the Pac-12 has come out and said, this is our new deadline. This is our new budget. This is what we are looking for. We're close, you guys. We're close. Remember, Pac-12 Media Days were last week. And the Pac-12 put out a statement then. They're like, hey, it's almost done. We're right there, but we're not going to announce the deal during Media Days. And what did I say on this show? Do you know why they're not going to announce a new media rights deal during Pac-12 Media Days? Because they don't have one. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to announce live on the show that I will not announce my upcoming date with Margot Robbie. You know why?
Because you're engaged.
All right, well, I was playing the role. But yes, that's the main reason. The main reason being I don't have a date with Margot Robbie. That's why I would not announce it, right?
And she's married, but, you know.
It's a gimmick. It's a gag.
Should have said Taylor Swift. She's available. Apparently.
I got to listen. I love me some Tay-Tay. I'm a Swiftie. Hate on haters. I don't care. Tay-Tay ain't my type, dude. She's not. She's not. Well, she.
So, how many of these teams are the types of other conferences? How many of these teams
that makes positive money?
Okay, yeah, but do any of them make positive money?
Let me put it this way. These schools are the conferences types the way that Taylor Swift is my type. Do I look at her and go, that chick's a smoke show? No. But you know what I do go, oh, dude, I'm never working another day in my life. Taylor Swift's a billionaire. I'm going to be fine. I'm going to have the dopest cars, and all I got to do is be me. Let's go. Let's go.
Is that a Taylor Swift thing, or that was just you? Oh, he's posing, by the way. Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, or Twitter. Make a meme. I dare you.
Have at it. I have no more shame. I've left all my shame in my past. So the reason the Pac-12
you're wearing the 1978 DJ T-shirt today.
It's a
shirt. It's a button-up. I'm sorry, it's not a T-shirt, but yeah,
it is a button-up.
Yeah, the Johnny Fever shirt.
The reality here is the Pac-12 doesn't have. They're not announcing a network deal because they don't freaking have one, right? They're begging. They desperately need one. They are hemorrhaging right now, right? They are falling out. And here's the thing. What, Lonzo? Let's play the Rob Brown Show Home Edition. Pencils up.
President.
What would attract a school to move from one conference to the other?
This is a hard question, Rob. I'm going to go with money.
Tell them what he's won, Johnny. Correct. So if you're the Pac-12 and you're going, oh, we're going to expand further. Outstanding work, Pac-12. How are you going to attract schools to you? Oh, by the way, this move does not mean the Big 12 is not going to grow more. In fact, quite the opposite. They need one more school to get to an even number, which is a goal. It's not a mandatory goal, but it is a goal.
Unless they do that trend of not having,
divisions, which is likely going to come. But here's the thing. One of the solutions to not having divisions is pods, right? And the Pac-12 the Big 12 has not said that that I'm aware of, that they will or won't go pods via divisions. But they have made it clear that they want an even number. But here's the thing, Lonzo. +1 gets them to an even number after Texas and Oklahoma leave, with Colorado joining the fold, plus who was it, BYU, Cincinnati, and Houston off the top of my head. Add Colorado, they're back to an even number. So they're at an odd number. So they need one more to get to an even number. But guess what? If you add 3 more, what happens? You're still at an even number. So the thought is they might go look for 3 more teams to add. And right now, here you go, Lonzo, I'll put you on the spot and then we'll take a break. I'm going to make you the athletic director at Rob Brown Show State University. And you, with the unlimited funding that you and I make, with the amount of radio money we are both just rolling around in right now, with all that money,
we're like Scrooge McDuck, yo.
And the desire to make more of it, great one, you have to pick a conference to join. The Big Ten doesn't want us. The SEC doesn't want us. The options are the ACC, the Pac-12, and the Big 12. Right now, which of those 3 conferences do you think Rob Brown Show State University would fit in with well?
All right, it's a trap, obviously.
It's a trap.
Because this is something we're going to be talking about later. Out of the 3, I guess I would go to the ACC. Told you it was a trap. God.
The ACC or the Big 12 are the only two options there. They're the only two options. And honestly, I was looking for the Big 12.
Well, the thing is, if you have aspirations of at least being the champion of your league, the ACC is the way to go because it's a one-horse race right now. We'll see.
It's a 2-horse race. We'll talk about that later in the show.
Back at you.
I would go the correct answer here is the Big 12. They are clearly ready to fork out money. And with this addition, their TV media rights deals are gonna exist. Pac-12. All right, we'll talk about this FSU thing coming up later on in the show. James said, Pac-12's going down. They're yelling timber. So that's a Kesha reference, and that's why I love the Armada. Back after this on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate.
Eyes are about to pop, bro. Hey, you're not leaving the room, are you?
No.
South Atlantic League, Greensboro 6-5 winners over Winston-Salem. Rome beat Asheville 6-3. Brooklyn over Wilmington 11-7. Hickory beat Hudson Valley 6-5. Bowling Green 8-3 winners over Greenville. Carolina League, Augusta over Charleston 15-8. Myrtle Beach shut out Fredericksburg 12-0. The Carolina Mudcats beat Columbia 11-2. Down east to the download the Odyssey app, search the Fan Upstate, and listen anywhere on your phone. I'm Chuck Sanders with the Sports Flash.
That's all Lonzo does is this. I throw out great hypotheticals, and Lonzo just loves to cut them down. That's fine. If I end up with like $10 million in the bank account and a Taylor Swift song about me, I'm good with it. JD, what's up, fella? Welcome in, big dog. Good to have you. Thanks for coming by. Joe, glad you got the shirt, fella. Glad to hear it. That's awesome. Rep it well, hot dog eating champion. Rep it well. Keegan said, after listening to this show, a therapist somewhere is seeing dollar signs. I feel like if Lonzo and I did joint therapy, we would drive a therapist to retire.
There'd be a lot of interrupting, and the therapist going, could just one of you talk? The other one be quiet. Then it would be like, yeah, but which one goes first? So the boss yelled at me down the hall, not yelled at me like, why aren't you in the studio? Just like, like a greeting. And I yelled back by someone's door while they're broadcasting. You think that exempts me from being in trouble? Or will I still get in trouble for yelling by someone's door? I don't care if I end up on her show through yelling at her door because she's really short. I'm good. Yeah, I never understood the Timber song. I mean, why that was so popular.
Because it's a banger. It's just a party tune.
That was Pitbull, right?
It's just a
was that Pitbull with her?
Yeah.
Okay, he's gonna be an Anderson. I keep hearing. You're going.
I will absolutely.
You're gonna go.
I will absolutely go. Also tonight, I don't know if I'm going yet or not. Part of it's gonna be if Keegan will go with me. Tonight is emo bandioki night at the Radio Room. They're gonna have a live band playing emo songs from the early 2000s and invite people up on stage to sing with them.
Yeah, I think my daughter's been to one of those before.
There's part of me that's like, Rob, you've been in Charlotte 3 days. You're exhausted. Stay home and catch up on sleep. And then there's part of me that wants to swoop my bangs down in front of my face and go get my Fall Out Boy on.
I just want to point out the child who acts the most like me is not the one who you think. It is my daughter. And she went there just to judge and make fun.
I would, first off, absolutely believe that. That she's more behaviorally like you than Cam. Cam is more behaviorally like me than you, I think, sometimes.
No, he's more like the me that you don't get to see.
Fair enough. Also, ouch, but fair enough.
No, but it's fine.
King said, have y'all seen the Iron Claw movie coming out about the Von Erich family? Yeah, and I'm waiting.
Pitbull, September 8th.
September 8th?
It's a Friday night, 6 o'clock.
I'm in.
William A. Floyd Amphitheater in Anderson, South Carolina. They're going to take it old school, and Rob's going to be there.
Pitbull has the greatest song lyric of all time, and I will not share it in front of Lonzo. If you've ever been around me and a beer, I've told you about this song lyric. It is the greatest song lyric ever written, and I'm not going to say it on
Good on you. Work should come first, Keegan. So when you're shooting that, do you like watch them roll it up, and that's what you're taking the picture of? I don't know.
Keegan, how long does it take to take a picture of a cigar, buddy? Come on, man. You're telling me that you don't want to go hang out because all the emo kids were now.
Well, it's a video shoot, so I mean, so there's that.
All right, well, bring a camera and I'll smoke a cigar for you. Let's go sing My Chemical Romance in public.
That's emo?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, so yesterday the FSU is leaving or trying to leave. The ACC rumors got hot and heavy again.
Were there sources?
Sources say, there was a cat from 24/7 Sports who, respectfully, I shan't name on the air.
Yeah, but they're reputable. I mean, it's not like it's some podcaster or something.
I don't disagree. They are.
Not that there's anything wrong with podcasting.
Not at all.
Yeah.
24/7 Sports is relatively reputable. I'm not going to take that from them. They are relatively reputable. What I am going to say is you got to show me something, dude, right? We have heard this before. We have played this song and dance before. Florida State's actively seeking to leave the ACC. Like, you understand that's just a thing you can say. Hey, Lonzo, I heard yesterday that Clemson is looking to change their colors to red, white, and blue. Sources told me that.
Merc.
Sources told me that they are looking to change their colors to red, white, and blue. I can't reveal my sources. Now, I'm not saying it's bad to keep sources. Is sources trending?
Carly Rae Jepsen is, and you just.
I didn't say anything about her on air.
Yeah, no, but you put it on.
I didn't say anything about her on air.
But leave
it in.
You put it on Twitter.
Leave it in.
Okay.
I didn't say it on air. The rule is if I mention it on air, it's
well,
out.
It's your game, so whatever the rules are, I haven't seen them in written form, so
leave it in. Coming back to Carly Rae Jepsen later. What a day for Rob Brown. I have admitted that I love Kesha, Tay-Tay, and now Carly Rae Jepsen. All right. The point here is,
this is crazy.
What a day. Sure. This is what Mark and I had this discussion after the show yesterday. He's like, yeah, Rob, I tried to tell you that. And I'm like, right, but you're missing the point. Anybody can say this. This is like saying sources are telling me that Rob Brown is looking for a new job. Is Rob looking for a new job? No, I'm not actively out there searching for a new job. However, if somebody calls me tomorrow and says, Rob, we want you to move to City X and we will pay you $1 million a year to do this job. I love you guys. I love this show. I love everyone here that I work with. I love the upstate of South Carolina. See ya.
Hello,
later.
Hello, Abu Dhabi.
Yeah.
Or Nome.
Yeah.
Because
like I said, I am consistent.
Radio's booming in Alaska, I think.
Hey, if Nome, Alaska wants to throw Rob Brown $1 million a year to talk football, buy the parka, baby. I'm out. As I've said, I can't stand the Live Tour, but if they call me and offer me $1 million a year to come talk golf, I will see y'all in the UAE, boys. So is Florida State actively, let me put it this way. I spent the last 3 days standing shoulder to shoulder with some of the biggest names in college football reporting. Zero of them mentioned anything about this. None of them. I have, because I work so close to them, plenty of contacts in Tallahassee, Florida. I asked all of them. None of them have heard this or are saying this. It is one dude who said one time on a fan-driven message board that this is happening, and everybody's like, oh, the ACC's collapsing.
Yeah, but people want to believe, especially one certain person who really believes in sources.
Yep. So we'll keep an eye on it. Again, maybe in a day or a week or a month, I'm coming on the air to apologize to this guy, but I haven't for the last 2 years. Back after this on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate.
Hey, it's Dan. Wake up with a morning jolt of in-depth sports
Hi-yow!
discussion every weekday at 6.
That was really loud.
Only on the Fan Upstate. MVP's bonus days are back in
I already have PSTDs from this morning.
That's my favorite thing you've said.
Admittedly, there are some times that I hold back and don't say what I want to say because someone is drinking a beverage. And I've never actually seen a spit take, but I've seen it really close. And it's not a good thing to happen around equipment.
It's been years in the making, and now the most epic comic and game story is finally here. Borderlands Comics and Games. Reimagined, bigger and better than before. The state's premier hobby shop has been bringing the best in comics, manga, and gaming to the region for 3 decades. Come see us at our new enormous location at 410 South Pleasantburg. Live the Borderlands experience for yourself. We have gone to a whole new level. Find us on Facebook and Instagram. Proud sponsors of the Upstate Pulse. Borderlands Comics and Games. Read, build, play.
We're going abroad for the first time in years. To Spain.
But we don't speak Spanish.
So we started using Babbel.
And started learning Spanish fast.
With Babbel, you can start having conversations in another language in just 3 weeks. Babbel's conversational method teaches you real-life words and phrases. And with Babbel's interactive bite-sized lessons, you'll remember what you learned.
¿Cómo te llamas? ¿Cómo te llamas? ¿De dónde eres?
¿De dónde eres?
When you learn a language, you want to actually use it. Babbel is designed with that goal in mind.
In just 3 weeks, we're starting to have conversations in Spanish.
Estoy muy emocionado para ir a España contigo.
Aw, he just said, I'm very excited to go to Spain with you. Vamos a tener mucha diversión.
And that means we're going to have so much fun.
Gracias, Babbel.
Babbel, language for life. Celebrating 10 million subscriptions sold. Now try Babbel for free at Babbel.com. Just go to Babbel.com and start learning a new language today. That's Babbel.com. Babbel.com.
Celebrate Greenville's music scene every Thursday night at Piedmont Natural Gas Downtown Alive, presented by Clemson MBA. Join us for a limited mission outdoor street party featuring
PSTDs.
Natural Gas Downtown Alive, Thursday evenings, March 16th through August 31st. Visit TVOEvents.com for more info.
I want you to know it's not just you. My mom is now texting me asking me what that song lyric is, and I'm not going to tell her either. I'm not comfortable saying it, but it is the most well-written song lyric. Like every time I hear it, I'm like, that is so good.
Did you say from what song it's from?
It is from
You don't remember the title?
is it Fireball? Yeah, it's from Fireball.
I love how this thing will just
It is
sign you out periodically.
It is a brilliantly written and incredibly dirty line. But it's genuinely, I've told Chris what it is. It's genuinely a brilliant line. It's so brilliant, it's a shame that it's inappropriate to say in front of my mother.
Gable's in the first break.
10-4. Ba-bum, ba-bum, bum, bum.
I want you to get out there, and I want you to give it y'all, boys. Y'all. Not just a little bit, but y'all, boys.
It's
That's
the
what I want.
Spirit of competition, fellas. Our numero dos of the Rob Brown Show goes now, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back. This is the Fan Upstate. Howdy, y'all. Good to be back with you. I am Rob Brown, the great Malonzo, on the other side of the metaphorical glass. This AM, if you'd like to be a part of the radio broadcast, now is an opportunity to do it. The fan phone is open for you at 844-326-3663, 844-326-3663. The carpro.com text line is there as well. It's 71307. Start your text with FAN, F-A-N, as this texter did. No song will ever touch Poker Face. My poker face, my poker face. Da-da-da.
By the way, I found the lyric that you were talking about. Yeah, and you should not.
It's brilliant.
Yeah, but you should not say that.
Correct.
Yeah, you should not.
Pitbull, y'all, Pitbull wrote, I'm not kidding, it is my favorite lyric in a song ever penned. I cannot say it on the radio. I will simply tell you, for those of you that are curious, because there's been a couple of texts asking what it is. It is a lyric that I cannot put on the radio. It is a lyric I will not tell my mother what it is. But should you feel so daring and want to know what that lyric is, Lonzo picked it out immediately. Okay? It is from the song Fireball by Pitbull, Mr. Worldwide.
Words are our life. So, I mean, just rearranging something can just, make it stand out for sure.
Pitbull penned what I think, I'm not even kidding, might be the most brilliant song, individual, one line, the most brilliant individual one-line song lyric of all time. I can't say it on the radio. I will not tell my mother what it is. But if you catch Rob Brown in a bar with a beer bottle in his hand, ask me what I think the greatest individual song lyric of all time is, and I will drop it on you immediately without thought. It's great. It's a great line. It's a brilliantly written line that I can't say in a public space unless I got a beer in my hand. All right? So, anyway, I have admitted today on the show that Kesha is a guilty pleasure. Yes, both. Kesha is a guilty pleasure of mine. I love Kesha music. That I love Taylor Swift, but she's not my type. She's a beautiful young lady. She's not my type. And I'm not going to say the last one because it's on Twitter trending topics and I want it to stay there.
No, it's not. But
Fine.
It's your show and your orders.
No, you're just going to make me talk about it not during the 2 minutes of that segment.
We can do it then.
Carly Rae Jepsen.
See, I was going to put it back.
No,
I was just kind of.
This is your fault.
I was ribbing back and forth with you. I didn't know you were going to. Fine.
Carly Rae Jepsen dropped a new album last night. And from what I understand, it is straight fire. So when the show is over today, I won't do it to Lonzo in the Fortress of Nerditude, but when I climb in the car to head back to the house.
How do you know that I'm not a Carly Rae fan? I'll be all right. I have eclectic taste in music. It's not country, so I'm good.
When I get in the car to ride back to the house today, I'll be bouncing at Carly Rae Jepsen's new album, and I can't wait.
And with his hair length, he will be bouncing. It's just.
I got this going good today. Look at that. Look at that.
Yeah.
Going real good today. I was inspired. Emmett Moorhead, quarterback at Boston College, who's got great hair.
Dude, that guy speaks so well.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just like,
If you missed that interview, you can go listen to it. We recorded it. Yeah, actually, it was live yesterday. You can go check it out at thefanupstate.com. In the middle of the page, there's a button that says podcast. Drop it down. Click on the Rob Brown Show. Go back to hour number 3 of yesterday's show.
I should alert the grammar police down the hall and tell him to listen to this guy speak and see if he can find a flaw anywhere.
He was phenomenal. Now, I will say this. As I have said, there's two ways to approach those interviews. You can talk about football. You can talk about not football. Emmett Morehead did not have any interest in discussing anything that wasn't Boston College football. That's what he wanted to get in. He wanted to talk Boston College football.
Could have asked him, hey, Emmett, kind of not a name that, are you named after? I mean, what's,
I don't think he cared.
He probably,
he wanted to talk football.
At least I
will say this. He got up from the table. I stood up. I shook his hand. I told him good luck. And he looks and he says, you got good flow. Let it keep.
Because we were talking hair in the beginning, and that's
hair.
Yeah, and that threw me a little bit because we were talking hair, and I knew you were doing that to break the ice thing, and that was fine. And he acknowledged my hair, I acknowledged his, then he acknowledged yours, and then it was straight up football. With it,
not
was
another word that was non-football the rest of that interview. But he gets up, he goes, "You got good flow. Let it go." Oh, you know what? No. I just realized there is something that I want to get for you here. All right. There is something here I want to play. You know what? I got to play it in the next segment because I got to make sure it's from the Kelsey brothers. And I just realized I can't just play the Kelsey brothers pod without double checking it first.
Is it the Taylor Swift thing? I'm trying to recall if there was anything.
I don't think there's anything.
I don't think there is either.
I listened to it.
They will edit things for that they're trying to, their little blurbs, their 1 minute things that trying to get attention. I know there's a technical name for it because we're supposed to do it. I can't remember.
It's a reel.
Is it a reel?
Yeah.
They put on reels?
I'm like 99% sure that there's nothing inappropriate because I remember he's got captions on it.
Hey, man. So, I mean, even Keegan's saying, get ready. I can dump. Let's do this.
All right, let's do this. Just so y'all know, when I say I love me some Taylor Swift, and immediately half of y'all insecure in your masculinity immediately want to jump on me about being a Swiftie. I want you to know that noted, definitely a real man and also wrestling fan, Travis Kelsey.
And more than likely a player.
An absolute player. Travis Kelsey and his brother do a pod. And they got to talking about Tay-Tay. And I'm going to go one step further. Because while Rob Brown says, I do love some Taylor Swift music, she's not my type. Travis Kelsey's like, she's beautiful and rich, she's my type, to the point that he went to a Tay-Tay show and pulled this move. Oh, wait, I got to turn the sound up. Wait. Oh, you got to be kidding me. Now it's telling me this video has no sound. You got to be kidding me.
You know what? I can look for it.
Yeah, see if you can pull it because I can't find it. I mean, I have it. It's just not. Instagram is screwing me up right now. All right.
Let me hit the X and see what I can find.
Yeah, check the X. Check the X and find this video. Because for the handful of y'all that dropped lines on the text when I said, yeah, I like some Taylor Swift. I like me some Taylor Swift. I got to point out that it's me and Travis Kelsey. And I would say Travis Kelsey's a notable dude.
All right, I got it.
All right, here we go. Travis Kelsey's story of giving a talk or trying to make it a pass at Tay-Tay.
Speaking of Taylor Swift, I know you went to the Taylor Swift concert. How was it?
Yeah, well, I was disappointed that she doesn't talk before or after her shows because she has to save her voice for the 44 songs that she sings. So I was a little butthurt I didn't get to hand her one of the bracelets I made for her.
You made her a bracelet?
Yeah. If you're up on Taylor Swift concerts, there are friendship bracelets, and I received a bunch of them being there, but I wanted to give Taylor Swift one with my number on it. Not right now.
Your number's in 87 or your phone number?
You know which one. She doesn't meet anybody, or at least she didn't want to meet me. So I took it personal.
She probably just hasn't gotten over the Super Bowl yet. She's a big Eagles fan. Maybe she just made something up and just didn't want to talk to you.
Damn it.
So TK87 showed up to the Eras tour, made Taylor a friendship bracelet. Now, again, like he said, if you're not up on it, the whole thing has been the Swifties make a bunch of friendship bracelets and they go and they trade with other Taylor Swift fans. I think it's fun. All right. It's fun. Leave people alone. If that's what they want to do and that's how they enjoy themselves, leave them alone. All right.
It's a very teenager thing to do. I mean,
Whatever.
you know,
It's Lonzo, your walls are covered in anime cartoons.
in case you didn't know this, you've worked with me for a while. That was sarcasm.
Yeah.
I mean, you know.
Yeah. No, like it's fine. If that's what people want to do, leave them alone to have their fun. So Travis Kelce makes a friendship bracelet with his phone number on it to deliver to Tay-Tay. And before you get creeped out and go, what is this full-grown man doing? Lonzo, Travis Kelce's 33 years old. You know how old Taylor Swift is?
Somewhere in her 30s.
She's 33 years old.
Yeah, I mean.
All right? This is not like a weird thing. It's not like Taylor's 18 years old, y'all. She's 33, right? She's been out for a minute. So Travis makes a run with a friendship bracelet at Taylor, and Taylor's like, nah, I'm all right. And then Jason hits us with, bro, you know she's an Eagles fan, right? You know she's an Eagles fan. I got a better chance with Tay-Tay than you do, T-Rav.
All right, so here's what I think this is. I think this is the kind of game that Travis Kelce has. I don't think any of this stuff ever happened, but now it's everywhere, and he's going to get her attention.
Travis Kelce.
I think it's a work.
Travis Kelce absolutely did this.
I think it's a work, and I think this is how he gets the number. I think that's how it works.
Travis, I in my heart of hearts, I believe Travis Kelce did this. And you know why I believe Travis Kelce did this? Because this is the kind of dumb stuff that I think of.
Well, I was watching a morning show this morning, and the female on there was gushing all over Travis Kelce, almost to the point where she didn't. Was almost
like, yo, T-Rav, let me get a friendship
yeah,
bracelet?
it was kind of like that. Yes.
Dude, I love it. I love it. I love it. It's one of two things. Either it is an incredible shot.
I think he has
from
that
a shooter.
I think he has that kind of game.
Yeah.
I do.
No, see, here's the thing. I also do. I think he's got the kind of game to do that, right? You're like, I think he's got the kind of game to make this up and have a great story that gets her attention. I think he's got the kind of game to actually show up at her concert, to pull VIP status because he's Travis Kelce,
So you think
and to go, Tay-Tay, I made this for you.
this was plan B? This was plan B. This is well thought out, that he knew in case the bracelet didn't work, he can put it out there and it's going to be on every station everywhere. And everyone's going to be talking about it. It's going to be all across social media, that she will have to notice him if she didn't already.
I mean, maybe so. All I'm saying is this. Noted Taylor Swift fans, Rob Brown and Travis Kelce.
James on the stream says, leave it to a Chiefs player to make something out of nothing. Here's the thing. Don't be disrespectful, James.
Don't be disrespectful.
You disrespect Kelce, he's going to prove you wrong. I mean, that's what he does.
All right. Let me throw one more up here.
By the way, plan C, before you throw that up there, is Kelce just wants his name in a song, or he just wants a song written about him. So he can say, that song right there?
Oh, look.
That was about me.
Tay-Tay is going to drop a banger in the next year, and the title's going to be 87. Everybody's going to go, what's that mean? And we're going to go, we know. Trav knows. All right, while we're talking about the Kansas City Chiefs, let's stay here for this one. Yesterday, Joe Burrow gets knocked out of practice, has some sort of leg injury. The team described it as a calf injury. They did not go into further detail. The rumor floating around is that it is a strained calf, but there are some folks making some more severe predictions as to what this was. We'll find out. But the same day that happens, Lonzo, a new NFL MVP favorite in Vegas has dropped. Last week, Patrick Mahomes was plus 650 to be the NFL MVP. He is this week still plus 650. But last week, Joe Burrow was plus 700. He is now plus 600. As of today, your odds-on favorite to win the NFL MVP award is Cincinnati Bengals quarterback Joey Ice.
Wait, what? Why? He got hurt and now he's the favorite to win the MVP?
I think this line moved before he got hurt.
Oh, okay.
The line moved,
right.
Then he got hurt.
All right.
The curse! The MVP curse is real. So as of today, and again, this injury may change these odds back. It might reset the market. But as of today, Patrick Mahomes, you're still getting the same value on Patrick Mahomes. He's still plus 650, 6.5 to 1 if Patrick Mahomes is your MVP. But my question is this Joey B getting more respect, or is this voter fatigue on behalf of Patrick Mahomes? Is the media getting tired of seeing Patrick Mahomes on everything? He's a Madden cover athlete. There's a documentary on Netflix out about him. Is this voter fatigue on Patrick Mahomes, or is Joey B that good, Lonzo?
He's good, but it might be fatigue. I looked it up because I was curious. Since 1957, the player has won back-to-back NFL MVP awards 6 times. This includes Jim Brown,
okay,
Joe Montana, Brett Favre, and Peyton Manning and Aaron Rodgers.
Okay.
So that's it.
Predominantly quarterbacks.
Yeah. Well, so it's rare for a quarterback to win MVP back to back. So so is that a good thing if you're betting? Because it's rare, so less people will think it's going to happen?
Is it a good thing? Let's see. By the way, Aaron Rodgers did it in 2020 and 2021. So it's not like this is a distant past thing. It can be done.
Well, before that was, Peyton Manning. But he did it twice, 2003 and 2004 and 2008 and 2009. So there was like a decade before it happened again.
Peyton Manning did it 08-09. Rodgers did it 2020, 2021. Before Peyton, the last time before that was Favre in 96, 97, in 95, 96, and 97. He went three-peat. Did Brett Favre, only one to pull that number as
Look
far
at
as
Green
I know.
Bay in there. With a couple guys doing it multiple times.
It's a good couple of guys, real good couple of guys.
Hall
Jim
of
Brown,
Famous.
by the way, did it in 57, 58. So since 57, 58, it's happened just a handful of times, most of it quarterbacks. So my question here is, again, there's one of 3 options.
See, I was saying that's why I'm not sure he wins it again. And there's so much focus on him, and he does. I think there is going to be some fatigue. And in the end, that fatigue may turn to disrespect. And if that turns to disrespect, the Kansas City Chiefs will be Super Bowl champs again this year. Yeah, I've been saying it all this time, though. That's easy.
Oh, I should have done the whole.
Yeah, you missed the bit.
I broke the gag. For those of you that can't see, I'm holding up the sheet of paper that I said earlier in the show. I was going to tell you what Lonzo was going to say. That just says that's disrespect.
I am curious. Did you believe I would get to it in the fashion that I did it, though? Yeah, it was not. It was ugly.
What even in the ballpark of the trash?
Yeah, my wife was asking me yesterday, why are you flailing around on stream? Like I was trying to make a shot and it didn't happen. Rob just did the same thing. Yeah, at least that was closer.
That was close. It hit the edge.
If there was a hoop over that basket.
So Joey B, now your odds-on favorite to win NFL MVP over Patrick Mahomes. And it's voter fatigue, which is, by the way, really dumb and I hate it. Okay? Really dumb and I hate it.
Well, because I think people,
really dumb and I hate
they voted for him again. He always wins. Always someone else would get a chance.
Well, then somebody else should win the damn thing.
No, I agree. Someone else should be good enough to win it, for sure.
Joel Embiid was not the MVP of the NBA. He was not. Nikola was and should have won it again, but we don't want to see that guy win it again. Yeah, we do when it's him. How is it anybody else? All right, let's take a break. Speaking of the NFL, we got to get to the Sean Payton, Nathaniel Hackett story. Later on in the broadcast, we're coming to that. We'll get some more of this. We got to get to that. We didn't actually get to the meat and potatoes of this FSU thing. So we'll come back to that later on in the radio broadcast.
Meat and taters.
And coming up very soon, we'll have a Friday join from Rashad Beard to the Panther Nation podcast. All that's coming up on the Rob Brown Show. All that's coming up on the Fan Upstate, y'all. The Rob Brown Show back on your radio. It is Friday, baby. We're having some fun on the radio broadcast today. If you would like to be a part of it, now's a wonderful opportunity to do so. The fan phone's open, 844-326-3663. The text line's open at 71307. If you want to jump on there, the carpros.com phone line. Start your text with FAN, F-A-N, FAN, F-A-M. We'll read them on the air. We're working with Rashad Beard. He's working on getting set up to jump on, talk some football with us. Keep in mind, tomorrow we will be live at Carolina Panther training camp. We are on the air from 9 until 11 a.m. tomorrow from camp. We are going to be...
Rashad should have just drove over here. I mean, I know.
You know what? I didn't even think about that.
I know you just given up a spot, but it's, 25 minutes.
Well, I take that back. I think he went back to Charlotte for last night and today, and he's coming back down tomorrow.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, but we will have working on getting Rashad in here. He will join us either in the last segment of this hour or potentially the first segment of the next hour, and we'll let you know when it happens. So we're working on getting Rashad in here to talk some Carolina Panther football with us. Again, we'll be there tomorrow from 9 till 11 live. Sticking around for practice afterwards. Very much looking for that. Going to be a lot of fun on the show tomorrow, 9 to 11 at
Can't wait to see all the hosts on that. It's going to be amazing.
Going to be fun. Going to be fun. Going to have a good time. Diesel described himself as the Molly Karam of the day tomorrow. So I fully
wait. Why is he there?
Diesel, of course, hosts the Carolina Kickoff Show every game day, 2 hours before kickoff. Diesel is live on Classic Rock 101.1 with the Carolina Kickoff Show, where he dives into, breaks down all of the number, stats, and analysis of the game upcoming that day. So Diesel will be in the lead, the Molly Karam chair tomorrow, leading the show. I can't wait.
And for those of you asking, no, I will not be on the show because I wasn't invited. But that's all right. You know what? I'm going to be there anyway, and I'm going to heckle.
He is going to heckle.
I'm going to heckle for the entire 2 hours.
To that.
I have I've already told some very important people how my heckles will be working.
I can't wait.
And yeah, I'm just going to heckle.
I can't wait.
I hope you guys can do things under pressure because I'm going to be Kobayashi tomorrow.
I like it.
I don't think they can revoke my ticket. I already have it, so we'll see.
All right. Speaking of training camp, one interesting development that makes it less interesting. I don't know why this was news because we kind of already did this, but it is news. There is no quarterback competition. Frank Reich has said it is now official that Bryce Young is QB1 for the Panthers as training camp gets its start. Frank Reich made the announcement yesterday morning. He said, quote, yes, he's QB1. He will practice with the starters in anticipation of the week 1 game against Atlanta. Andy Dalton is listed as QB2 on the roster. And in fact, I got a short clip here, Alonzo, if you'll crank the sound onto this computer. Frank Reich yesterday was asked about the development of Bryce Young in the early portion of his career.
No, there's no, I always felt like Scott and I and coaching staff, when we decided to pick Bryce, we imagined and saw the vision that we'd be standing here today saying he's QB1.
So there you go. He said, I'm not surprised. That's a terrible clip. That's just a terrible clip. Anyway, he said he is not surprised. He and Fitterer are not surprised at the development. Reich said, when we decided to take Bryce, we imagined and saw the vision that we'd be standing here today saying he's QB1, end quote. And that's what they did. He did go on to emphasize that this was not just handed to BY. This was not just handed to Bryce Young. He said BY was told from the beginning that he would have to earn it and that he has indeed earned it. Reich said back in May, when he's ready, when it's best for the team, that's when we'll look to make the transition. But when we come back out Monday, Andy will be taking the reps with the ones, Bryce will be with the twos. That lasted all of about a month before BY supplanted AD as the QB1 on this roster. And that, listen, I don't want to say this is not a shock. It is a bit of a shock. I genuinely thought BY would be listed as the 2s until he got up to NFL speed. But I've seen some videos from camp so far, and what I can tell you is while we are not in full pads, while we are not running full speed, while we have not gone up against a full 11 defense yet, everything that BY has done with the 1 so far, be it at OTAs, be it at day 1 of camp, BY looks up to speed. I don't think this is a Frank Reich bent over to make the first round, the first overall draft pick happy. I genuinely think Bryce Young showed up and impressed everybody.
So no offense to Andy Dalton if you're listening, but you're Andy Dalton. And here's we were talking about this before it was announced. I wish we would have bet because I'd have been right.
You would have?
Yeah. And you've seen Andy Dalton. You give him a lot of credit. Back in the day when he was in Cincinnati, he never got the credit he deserved. He was a really good quarterback, but he's also older and he's lost a step. And Bryce Young is everything as advertised. I mean, and so when he goes in there and he's smart enough to know all the plays when the coaches don't know that, I mean, that's pretty cool. And I cannot wait to get to see him in practice and see what he actually does in person. But I think it's also has to do with who the backups are. I mean, you don't think that factors in there?
No, like as I said, and I'm not. This is not anytime. This is the probably the biggest struggle that I have on the radio. Anytime that I say anything that is, despite my complete objective analysis on everything I talk about, anytime that I bring up anything about anyone that had any connection to the Saints, everybody's immediately like, oh, you're just a homer, you loser. Y'all.
That goes with fandom, though. It absolutely does. I think you have to. I know you expect that.
I know that you guys don't accept it, but
every time I'm nice about Clemson, no one hears that because they only hear the bad stuff.
And it's infuriating because my job is to turn that off, and I do a good job of that. All right. So here's what I'll say about Andy Dalton. You are correct. He never got the respect that he deserved for what he did when he was truly the Red Rifle at Cincinnati. You are 100% correct. I am also going to point out, I'm not saying that Andy Dalton was a Pro Bowler last year. What I am saying is that Andy Dalton led the New Orleans. First off, he took Jameis Winston's job and he never gave it back. And then,
yeah, but I mean, Jameis had all the promise over all these years. It never came to fruition because maybe it wasn't really there.
30 touchdown guy. I mean, also a 30 interception guy, but a 30 touchdown guy.
Even after he got his eyes fixed and everything was supposed to be good.
Well, but you got to keep in mind, Jameis's back was literally broken last year. He was playing literally with a broken freaking back. That's a wrestling reference. You're ready. You're welcome. He took his job, never gave it back, led the Saints to an 8-9 season. And oh, by the way, we're a single game away from winning the division. And I can give you 3 games the defense lost. Andy Dalton scored enough points to win, and the defense gave it away.
We seem pretty passionate about that New Orleans team. You know, you don't show that kind of passion.
That's just analysis,
you don't,
bro.
You don't show that kind of passion when you're talking about another team. So obviously you're biased.
It's disrespect.
How can we listen to anything you say about any other team other than New Orleans?
It's disrespect. That's what I do. Just pure, blatant, simple disrespect. So Andy Dalton last year, when 8-9, was 1 game away from taking the division away from Tom freaking Brady and go into the playoffs. And frankly, deserved to because the defense gave away, including the game against Carolina in, week 3? Defense gave that game away. Defense blew that game. All right, now, I'm not saying Andy Dalton's better than Bryce Young. I'm saying I expected Bryce Young to have to go above and beyond to prove that was the spot, which is why I set the line for BY to be named starter. The over-under for me was week 2.5, right? Week 2.5 was my over-under. I thought by week 3, he'd be the starter. Instead, he didn't make it out of OTAs as the backup. He made it out of OTAs as QB1, and then yesterday got announced officially as QB1. And again, this is a compliment to BY that I think Andy Dalton is not great, but better than he's given credit for. And the fact that Andy Dalton, in my mind, is better than he's given credit for, and BY beat him out, says good things about BY, not bad things about Andy Dalton. There's two options here. Either Andy Dalton was so bad that BY went up by default, or Andy Dalton's not that bad and BY just beat him out. And based on what I've seen so far, based on what I've read so far, based on the limited amount, but the amount of video that I've seen so far from OTAs and from camp, from what I can tell, BY's just been handling his business and has been handling his business very well. This is not about Andy Dalton being a disappointment. This is about Bryce Young having won the freaking job, man. He won the job outright. And that's a confidence builder, my dude. It just is. So anyway, just some thoughts on what Bryce Young's ability to go win and get this job and hold this job means for the Panthers. To me, good things. And again, we're going to talk about this tomorrow from 9 to 11 when we are live at Carolina Panther training camp. But he won this job. He beat Andy Dalton out for this job. He took this job away from AD. And again, listen, there is the potential that Andy Dalton wasn't giving you the best of the best so far. Andy Dalton said when he got picked up, I know what my role is on this team, right? My role is to come in here and teach Bryce Young the intricacies of being an NFL quarterback, and when he picks it up, to step out of the way and let the future of the franchise play. I know what my role is. So is it possible that Andy Dalton was just there to collect a paycheck? Sure. So we have all worked with that cat who's just in it to collect a paycheck and go home. And again, it's a job. It's a job. If you're the type of dude to show up, do the minimum amount, get your paycheck, and go home while you look for the next thing, I honestly don't fault anybody for that, because it means that you're putting emphasis on the rest of your life away from your office. And I'm okay with that. But I also acknowledge that, hey, here's the reality. If that's the way you approach it, you're not going to keep jumping up the ladder. You're going to hit your max where this is the limit. This is the best job you can have, and get away with doing the bare minimum and keeping that job, right? Backup quarterback is that in the NFL. If you've got the talent to be a backup quarterback, you can be a backup quarterback and do the bare minimum. And just recognize the chances I play are low, and the chances that I play and this team's expectations or playoffs are even lower. So maybe that's the case. But I'll also tell you that after watching Andy Dalton in New Orleans, after watching Andy Dalton's career finish up in Cincinnati, where he was in Dallas in the middle too, if I remember, didn't he get some snaps in Dallas at one point? After watching all that, Andy Dalton does not strike me as the show up and do the bare minimum kind of guy. He's a guy that wants to be a starter to prove he's still that caliber of a cat. So I don't think he would have just laid down to let BY have the job. I think Bryce Young beat him out for the job. And if you're a Panther fan, you should kind of be excited for that. You should kind of be excited for that. All right, let's take a break. We'll come back here in just a minute. Got a couple more things I want to knock out. When we come back, MLB Commissioner Rob Manfred catches a 4-year extension as the head of that organization. I don't, Lonzo, I don't want to shock anybody here, but I don't like Rob Manfred. So why did he catch a 4-year extension if Major League Baseball fans overwhelmingly despise him as a person? The answer is very simple. I've told it to you before. I'll tell it to you again next on the Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate.
If I get myself in trouble today, my hair looks good.
It does.
Yeah.
appeared in one game with the Arizona Cardinals last season and played for the Bears from 2018 to 2020. He had 45 catches and 7 touchdowns with Georgia back in 2017. International League Baseball Thursday, Durham beat Charlotte 10-9. South Atlantic League, Greensboro 6-5 winners over Winston-Salem. Rome beat Asheville 6-3. Brooklyn over Wilmington 11-7. Hickory beat Hudson Valley 6-5. Bowling Green 8-3 winners over Greenville. Carolina League, Augusta over Charleston 15-8. Myrtle Beach shut out Fredericksburg 12-0. The Carolina Mudcats beat Columbia 11-2. Down east with a 6-4 win at Fayetteville. The Fan Upstate is your home for Furman Paladin sports all year long. Download the Odyssey app, search the Fan Upstate, and listen anywhere on your phone. I'm Chuck Sanders with the Sports Flash on the Fan Upstate.
Our communities are filled with wonderful people who make living here great. At Home Trust Bank, we're proud of that. And that's why we focus on helping homeowners prepare for what's next. Our local mortgage bankers have the experience you need and exceptional personal service you'll appreciate. Home Trust Bank is ready to help make a house your home. When it's time to buy, visit your local Home Trust branch or go to htp.com/mortgage.
Can you smell it? That smoky, salty, delicious aroma of bacon? The 4th annual Bourbon and Bacon Fest is back on Friday, 22nd at the Foundry at Justin Mill in downtown Greenville. Show your taste buds the time of their lives.
I don't know. I may wake up in the morning and realize how slighted I've been and just not go. And then I'll go back to sleep.
It is early.
But I wasn't going there for that anyway. I was going there to watch practice. And I've been going there longer than anybody else on the station. As insignificant as I may be.
If you're 50 or 60 years old and in reasonably good health, a $1 million policy should only cost about $100 to $200 per month. Big Lou may have a solution for your previous policies as well. You may even
I might use this as a reason to not go to another event that we're required to go to. Because obviously I'm just a producer. So why am I going to that thing?
I am leaving when the show's over because I got a baseball show to do.
Colonel Grudge.
Colonel Grudge, indeed.
Keeping your kids safe is a full-time job, whether it's putting on outlet covers, installing child gates, or gluing down your priceless vase. So Duracell.
I can have a hard time knowing my role and shutting my mouth.
You jabroni.
Your kid is safer, and you've got one less thing to worry about. Or glue down. Duracell, engineered for more. Available in 2032, 2025, 2016 sizes.
I think the main thing in life is using slights, not just as motivation, but as reasons to get out of things that you don't want to do by using things against the people who slighted you. If I was really vindictive, I would go on our pages and post all the pictures of me helping to lead the whole thing, the whole party, which I did a few years ago. Revisionist history will say that I got lost and ended up on stage. But I knew this was coming and everyone was being quiet because of how I would react.
From the Ingalls Market Studio, the
The Rob Brown Show rolls on, wrapping up our numero dos. Rob Manfred is the commissioner of Major League Baseball, and I do not like him. However, it's a weird situation, Lonzo, because I don't like him, and I think he does a good job at his job.
We've all had to work with people we don't like.
Yep.
So if you have to work with someone you don't like, if they're good at their job, it at least helps it a little bit.
Yes, but here's the thing.
By the way, don't read anything into it. I love Rob. He's awesome.
That's true. I am. The thing here is that Rob Manfred's job is not what you think I'm talking about. I'm not saying Rob Manfred's a great commissioner of Major League Baseball, but commish is the fake job because the commissioner doesn't make decisions. The owners make decisions. They just funnel them through.
The commissioner is basically a mouthpiece for the owners on whatever league it is.
I would not say they are basically a mouthpiece for the owners, Lonzo. I would say that is literally what they are. Their job is to just parrot what the owners want and say, but the owners they can't just come out and say it because the owners have to keep a good face turned towards the crowd.
Is this the equivalent of a press secretary?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. I would actually say it's maybe even a little bit more than that because with like a politician's press secretary, right? They're going to come out and they're going to go, yo, Senator Reitzel has decreed in his latest legislation that X. And here are the reasons that he has said X and the reasons he said X and the reasons that he made this vote or held that meeting or flew to this place or whatever. And their job is to spin that in the best possible light. But at the end of the day, we all know that while we might dislike the press secretary, our angst is truly funneled, or our happiness is truly funneled towards the person that press secretary represents, right? When they come out, they are introduced as the press secretary to Senator Reitzel, Rob Brown. Rob Manfred is not described that way, does not act that way. Rob Manfred's job is to pretend as if these are his decisions. I, as the commissioner of Major League Baseball, thus decree that this terrible decision will happen. But as we've pointed out, at the end of the day, we all know who made those decisions. Rob Manfred's job is to act in the interest of Major League Baseball's owners. And while I don't like Rob Manfred, I would like to point out that I also don't like the owners of Major League Baseball. I can get mad as I want.
None of them? You don't like any of them?
I'm sure that there are some of them that I would like as individuals, but as a collective, which they have to operate as a collective. These decisions that I don't like only get made if all of baseball's owners are on board. For instance, the whole thing about the A's, right? You go back about, 4 weeks ago? Rob Manfred was doing a little pressy when he was talking about the fans at the Oakland Athletics when they did. Remember the reverse boycott the A's fans did? The reverse boycott. We're on a weekday afternoon. The Oakland A's fans actually bought tickets and went to a game. And they made their point, right? They were chanting at John Fisher, sell the team, sell the team. They got their attention. And Rob Manfred was asked about it. And he goes, I'd like to congratulate the A's fans for actually meeting average league attendance. And it's like, dude, you're missing the point. And then Rob Manfred went on to throw a couple more insults. And then, by the way, flat out, straight up lie about the city of Oakland. We wanted to stay there, but they didn't bring any plans forward, to the point that the mayor of Oakland flew to Seattle for the All-Star game, quite literally dragging a trolley full of documents proving that Oakland was actually and absolutely working on getting the plan worked out in order to keep the A's in Oaktown. But see, here's the thing. We all looked and we went, golly, that's shameful. That's shameful. You should be embarrassed by this, Rob Manfred, except you're all missing Rob Manfred's job. Rob Manfred's job was what? The owners are fine with this decision. You know how I know the owners are fine with what happened? Because the owners are the ones that have to literally vote to give Oakland permission to leave Oakland to go to Vegas. And they did that. The thing is, they don't want the heat for that, right? Because if you give Oakland permission to leave Oakland and abandon a very proud, historic fan base that's been around for, 60 years they've been playing their baseball there? If you say it's okay for them to leave, do you know what else you're effectively saying? It's okay for me to leave too. It's okay for me to bail on this market, in this fan base, to go somewhere that I will make more money while you all don't have a baseball team anymore. But see, the baseball owners don't want you to view it in that light. They don't want you to view it as, we're fine with a professional team leaving, abandoning their market to go to another market and make more money. They want you to view it as, Oakland bad, Oakland owner bad, Rob Manfred bad. So in order to get you and me, because also screw Rob Manfred, to get you and me to look at Rob Manfred and hate that guy, they pay him a lot of money, like a lot of money. And they just gave him 4 more years in that position. Why? Because he's doing a good job. He's doing a good job at being their fall guy. He's doing a good job at laying on the swords so that they can walk over them and go, aren't we so cool? Look at us. We're building new ballparks for you guys. We're spending money on your teams for you guys. We're making you love baseball. Isn't baseball amazing? Well, Rob's over there bleeding out from 1,000 stab wounds from the fans, and everybody's going, I hate that. Look, I'm relatively comfortable saying there's probably a couple of owners I would even get along with. I go, this guy's pretty cool. I would share a Jack and diet with this guy. But as a collective, they stink. They suck. They're bad. They're bad. Rob Manfred's job is to draw the ire of the fans away from the owners. And that's what happened. Now he's going to step up and he's going to take credit for speeding up the game, and he's going to take up credit for youth baseball growing around the country, and he's going to take credit for the pitch clock, and he's going to take credit for all these new rules that have made, I'm not going to lie, baseball more enjoyable to watch on television this season. But don't let him let you forget that he openly mocked fans of the Oakland Athletics for having the audacity of being upset that they've been playing in a crap stadium for a dozen years, that their owner has sold off every good player to step through that city in the past 10 years and has made it an unbearable, unwatchable product so that he could move. And Rob's out here going, oh, yeah, no, you fans, you guys suck. So that what? So that we stop paying attention to the actual people who made this decision, the owners of the A's and every other team in Major League Baseball. Rob Manfred is very rich, and he's going to keep being, because at the end of the day, what he is selling is his soul. Or at least he's willing to be the bad guy in public for money. Rob Manfred's job, Lonzo, is kayfabe. But just like bad guy wrestlers, I'm going to tell him how much he sucks too, except I mean it. Let's take a break. Coming up in the next hour of the show, got a few more NFL stories to get through. And I want to rehash this ACC conversation, because it's not just about Florida State, Clemson, North Carolina, and Miami. It really is about the conference as a whole. And the future of college football is wrapped up in it. I'll tell you why when we come back on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate. Bow, 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 ba-da-da-da.
$35 million pay cut the other day seemed to be a domino falling. Now it looks looks like we're seeing the immediate fruits of his less expensive labor. Four-time Pro Bowler and free agent running back Dalvin Cook is visiting the Jets facility this weekend. He was on Good Morning Football on NFL Network this morning and didn't waste time declaring his favorite landing spot.
I'm gonna sit down with my agent and we gonna go over things. Right now we're just taking it one step at a time.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's what this process is about. You kind of evaluate everything. You don't skip the process of going through everything.
Yeah.
So I'm just trying to go through one step at a time, and the Jets right at the top of the list. So let's go check the box.
Cook is a Miami native and earlier this offseason said the Dolphins would be a Cinderella story, but it appears likely that he will be facing them twice this season rather than playing for them. And finally, at the Women's World Cup last night, Argentina and South Africa played to a 2-2 draw in Group G. This morning, it wasn't impressive again, but England with another 1-0 clean sheet over Denmark. And China, despite being reduced to 10 players less than 30 minutes in, they were able to beat Haiti 1-0, effectively eliminating the Haitians from the competition. I'm Pat Boyle.
At Ingles, we're all in for summer. Whether you're hitting the trails, hitting the water, or hitting the golf ball, we have everything you need for the perfect picnic, the greatest grill out, and the best.
Depends on if you bounce back to your feet. I think that would mean you were fluffy. And if you don't fall and you're sturdy, that makes you a weeble. And if you know what a weeble is, you're old.
There's nothing quite like surprising your sweetheart with a new getup that has you looking your best. Check out their collection today at smithandjames.com and stop by their stores at 222 Trade Street in Greer or at their new location on Verde Boulevard in Greenville.
Attention beer drinkers, the 2023 Upstate Craft Beer Passport is now on sale and packed with 24 pints of beer from 2 dozen of the Upstate's best craft breweries and 2 bonus tastings from Upstate Distilleries. Grab an Upstate Craft Beer Passport for only $50 and enjoy 24 pints of lagers, pilsners, stouts, sours, and more. Visiting breweries like Bird's Fly South Ale Project and Black Irish Brewing Company. Get your Upstate Craft Beer Passport.
So if you're sturdy and you fall, do you bounce? I fell yesterday and bounced. Does that mean I'm past 30 and on to fluffy? Yeah, I'd say so. Sturdy doesn't bounce. That's what sturdy is. Can you be sturdy and bounce?
No, I mean, if you're sturdy, you dent. That's
No, what you don't want to get into is, as Don Munson said, blubbery. Hey, do we have those 2 interviews queued up? Caden Dabo?
Yes.
Let's go with those.
There's still a chance of someone calling. They can't get a hold of him right now. So they're trying.
I mean, we'll preempt if he does. But oh, look what has made a return on the old Facebook memories. The annual Rob Brown looks like Will Wheaton picture. Comes up every year.
Call for your free information kit. 800-543-3399. That's 800-543-3399. 800-543-3399.
The Fan Upstate will be broadcasting live from Carolina Panthers training camp from Walker this Saturday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m.
And let's just say Mark and I have very different takes on what to expect from the boys in Process Blue this year.
Will the Bryce Young-Frank Wright combo become one of the best duos in the NFL?
And can Carolina actually win a division that is very much up for grabs?
It's the Fan Upstate with Rob Brown and Mark Ryan from Carolina Panthers training camp this Saturday morning from 9 to 11 and powered by
And somebody else who they're keeping secret just because. Surprise!
Oh.
No comment, Keegan. Crap, that double played. Oh well. I felt like it needed extra publicity. See if I get a text.
Manufactured locally for the Carolinas. This is the Rob Brown Show.
All right, so this story has been going around since yesterday, and I'm curious as to where we feel, where we fall, and how we feel about it. The guy that showed up to Giants training camp yesterday with a big sign that said, "Saquon, if you sign this, my ex will take me back." Now, unless your ex is Taylor Swift, why would you disrespect yourself like that publicly?
Because maybe he told his ex that, nah, baby, I was out with Saquon that night. And I can prove it because Saquon will sign my sign.
Even if that's the case, all you have done is created a sign that she's going to keep forever that says, yeah, the only reason we're together is because another dude autographed this thing for me. Now, the only out I've got here is dude ran around on his old lady, right? Dude cheated on his old lady, and she's like, tell you what, give me Saquon's autograph and I'll give you another chance. But even still, you're gonna out yourself as being a cheater. That means if you and she split, every chick you date from now on is gonna be like, hey, weren't you that guy that cheated on his girl and only got her back with a Saquon autograph?
So I haven't seen the guy. Does he look like he's with someone or was with someone?
No, he's just there with a
no.
big-ass sign.
You missed the point. Does he look like he actually could have an ex, or that he's just doing this so he can sell the autograph?
I mean, he's not an unattractive dude. He's a good-looking young fella. And I'm old enough now that I can say good-looking young fella. He's a strapping young man, right? But again, even still, let's say you're just doing that for a Saquon autograph. You now have a Saquon autograph on a big-ass board that says, if you sign this, my ex will take me back. Like, who's buying that? I don't know, man. It's just weird. It's just a weird thing to get an autograph. I mean, I guess it worked. He stood out. He got the autograph, right? But still, what a way to tell on yourself.
Now the world awaits. Did she take him back?
Yeah, I mean, if nothing else, I guess.
Or TMZ, we need to know.
You know that cat's going on some podcasts in the next few weeks. Hey, man, you got the autograph. Did she take you back? Tell us the story. I guess he's going to be a 15-minute internet celebrity. Ladies and gentlemen, the Rob Brown Show is in the third final Best the Money hour. And let's do this. Yesterday afternoon, we got the opportunity to sit down for a few minutes with the head coach of the Clemson Tigers, Dabo Swinney, and the starting quarterback of the Clemson Tigers, Cade Klubnik, as well as starting offensive lineman, the starting offensive center. We're going to play those interviews for you here on the show. We will start with Dabo. Now, before we play these interviews, I do want to remind you, before you start hitting me with your text of, that's it, that's all, we got 8 minutes apiece with these three individuals, okay? And I will also tell you this, and this is just me venting for a second. You all get to be my therapist for a minute. We get 8 minutes. For the minute that Dabo's butt hits the chair till the minute that the dudes from the ACC tap you on the shoulder and give you the old no mas sign, you got 8 minutes, and they are hard on those 8 minutes. So Dabo walks over, he sits down in the chair, he picks up the headset, and when he does, another host walks over and he goes, Dabo, hey man, good to see you again. And then just starts talking to Dabo about him and his buddy and them playing in a golf tournament together and how much fun they had. And his buddy my friend got paired up with you in a golf tournament a few months ago. And he was just saying all the best things about you. And I just wanted to let you know that you made an impression. A minute and 15 seconds. And I know that because I literally, when they would sit down, I had a timer on my phone, 8 minutes, and I pushed start on it. So I knew exactly where I was in the interview, because the last thing you want is to get to 30 seconds left and you haven't asked your big question, regardless of what that big question is. A minute and 15 seconds, this other guy was sitting there talking to Dabo Swinney about his golf tournament. And that's not the worst part of it. I mean, it is, because we had 8 minutes. And not only did we have 8 minutes, but there were two of us doing this interview. Mark Ryan was there as well. he showed up for the interviews with Dabo and Kate. So we had 8 minutes to split an interview between the two of us. And this guy came up and ate 1 minute and 15 seconds. Because it's not like the ACC guys were like, oh, we'll give you 9 minutes and 15 seconds since that guy ate up a buck. No, you now have 6 minutes and 45 seconds for your interview. That's not the worst part. The worst part, Lonzo, is that after I finally went, hey, guys, sorry, I don't mean to be rude and interrupt, but we only have 8 minutes here. And the guy's like, oh, yeah, sorry. He walks away. The worst part is the ACC guys, and I don't think they did this. This wasn't intentional. For the record, I want to tell Brandon McGinnis, who was running this event for the ACC, they did a remarkable job. This, of the 3 I've been to, this was easily the best and smoothest ACC Media Days I've been to so far. Everything was run excellently and efficiently. I have no qualms. I don't think they knew what was happening. But when we got done with Dabo, and they got Dabo to bring him to the next interview, guess who the next interview was? That guy. That dude that came over and ate $1.15 out of my time got Dabo next for the full 8. Now, I want you to know, Lonzo, I was very close to walking to his table and eating up $1.15 of his time. I was going to walk over and be like, Coach, I just wanted to thank you for coming on the show. I think you did a wonderful job. Hey, we were at Media Days at Clemson the other day. I thought it was great. I love the bowling alley. Isn't it fun to bowl? Isn't it fun? Pop a shot. Me and Mark, we want to challenge you to pop a shot next year. We had so much for 1 minute and 15. I was getting it back because I'm a vindictive jerk, except for we had Cade sitting down and we had 8 minutes with him too.
See, the one thing I'm surprised by, and this is not me making fun or anything, I'm surprised that Mark didn't say something. Because you're going to be non-confrontational, but Mark had to know also that was biting into his time. I think normally he probably wouldn't let that go.
I want you to know I wasn't going to let it go. I was not thrilled about that. I thought that was a bleep move.
Was the host someone that you know?
No.
Okay.
I don't know who he was. I don't know where he was from. I don't know what network he was on. He had just a white polo shirt on. I don't know who it was, but I know that he was an older cat. He was probably in his like late 50s, early 60s. He walked to another table and sorry, he was older than me.
Okay. Practically ancient.
Yeah. He was older than me.
Yeah. I mean,
he was in a white
we already
shirt.
have disdain for older people. You should have just jumped up. I mean, everyone knows.
He was older than me. He went to another table. I was going to get my $1.15, but the ACC I was like, all right, we got Cade for you here. And Cade sat down. I'm like, oh, well, I can't. I'm not going to short myself 2 minutes with Cade to go get my revenge for $1.15 on this cat. But that guy knew what he did. He did it on purpose. He didn't want to waste his 1:15 on the air in order to tell Dabo how super duper awesome he was. He did it on my time.
So,
and there wasn't a damn thing I could do about it.
Is there any way you can find out what radio station that was?
No, because I have no name.
Because we could.
Oh, I would prank call the hell
That's
out of
what I'm saying. We absolutely
We'd be
could do
calling
that.
him every day to
Yeah.
waste time on his show, but I couldn't figure it out. And by the time we were done we had Cade and then we had Putnam, and by the time we were done with them, this dude had packed up and left. Like he got his and he was gone. So anyway, let's do this. Let's go with this. This is me and Mark Ryan's interview yesterday with head coach of the Clemson Tigers, Dabo Swinney.
Joined right now by 2-time national championship head coach, 8-time conference champion, Dabo Swinney, right here on the Fan Upstate. Coach, I've heard you say, do the common things in uncommon ways, right? That's one of your quotes. How do you see your 2023 team achieving that?
Well, that comes from George Washington Carver's quote, when you do the common things in life in an uncommon way, you will command the attention of the world. And so, we've had that since I got the job in 2009. It's something we've talked about. It's about doing the little things. Yeah. Just doing the little things well. Muhammad Ali said, it's not the mountain ahead, it's the pebble in my shoe that wears you out, right?
I hate that pebble.
And isn't that true?
Yes,
right?
sir.
You can make the mountain, but that pebble in your shoe is wearing your butt out. So that's where that comes from. But what was the question again?
So how does the 2023 team, how do you see them achieving common things in uncommon ways?
Well, I've seen them already. We had our best semester academically the spring and summer, our best summer. This team that we have right now has I think we had 3 guys negative in accountability points last week. This is the most accountable team we've had in 6 or 7 years. This is the fastest team we've had since we've been tracking that data. So, they're putting the work in. they're doing, championships are won when nobody's watching, when the stands are empty. And so they've been doing the little things well. And ultimately, again, it's doing those common things in an uncommon way that eventually allows you to command the attention of the world. So it's not the big things. And so that's what I'm proud of, man. It's how they love each other. It's how they take care of the locker room. It's how they treat everybody in the building. Those are the things that to me are great indicators of the type of team you have.
Coach, we have been watching Cade throughout the day make the media rounds. Obviously, first time here, first time as a starter. After the way things went with DJ last year and he got to step in at the end and start building that confidence, I've seen that confidence out of him today with the interactions with the media, answer questions. Kind of where do you see his mindset, his confidence level now that we're getting closer to camp, closer to week one?
As good as it can be at this point. He's there's no greater teacher than experience. We all know that. Your first year doing this, when you don't know what you don't know, and you don't, but after a year of getting through a cycle, you have a different vision for it, and that's where he is. He now knows what he didn't know, and he's physically in a completely different spot. He's about 25 pounds heavier than he was last year, and then confidence-wise, because again, he's got some success under his belt. He's got some disappointment, and so he's just in a really, really good spot, And then obviously with Garrett coming in, that's been a great fit. Garrett recruited him a little bit out of high school, so it was kind of a natural transition there as well.
Coach Dabo Swinney joining us here on the Fan Upstate. Coach, I feel like societally we've lost the value of commitment in certain respects, and I feel like you guys do such a good job of instilling that. You recruit in a very, very different way. And I was hearing you say you spent a lot of time talking kids out of coming to Clemson.
Yeah.
And I was fascinated by that.
Yeah.
Can you share a little bit more about that with us?
Well, if you really study our program, so I'm going in year 15, and we've never had the number one recruiting class. We've had 13 top 15 recruiting classes, but yet we're second in wins in the last 12 plus years. And we're also second in draft picks, second in first round draft picks since I've been a head coach, 14 years. And so that is evaluation, that is development, and that is retention. And so, the decisions you make lead to your problems or your solutions, right? And so, as we've had success, and we know who we are. We know that what the standard is at every position. We know the fit, and our staff does an amazing job. And so, we don't try to be all things to all people. We're not trying to, just because somebody else does something doesn't mean we have to do it. It's what works for us. And so we don't have a lot of turnover here. We have a lot of continuity. We've not lost a single starter to the portal, not one, zero. And in the past 2 years, we've only had 2 kids leave post-spring. And everybody wants to know, why aren't you going to the portal? Well, first of all, portal guys don't want to. They want to. They're not coming in to be backups. We've had our starters, and then we've recruited well. We love the kids we've recruited, and we've been developmental that way. And then we've not had an exodus of guys post-spring where you can't get high school kids in May, right? So we just haven't been forced there. We've taken a couple quarterbacks to give us a bridge with a veteran guy. But we don't offer freshmen and sophomores, unless it comes directly from me. And I'm not going to offer a freshman or sophomore unless I know him. He's been on campus. I got to know something about him. The last one I offered was Avion Terrell, who's now coming. He's a true freshman this year. Well, I guess what? I coached his brother, AJ Terrell. I've known Avion since the 7th grade and so forth. So we just are convicted in how we do things. And that has worked for us. And we're usually probably second or third in the Power 60, Power 5 in fewest offers. Because we know when kids come to Clemson, they're going to like it. And so we don't offer a lot of guys. We're not interested in, filling up. We want to get the right guys that are going to be, that really align with really what we're all about, And so when you say I try to talk the kid out of it. But I think that has helped us all be on the same page That's why you rarely see a decommitment from Clemson. It's not the norm. It's like, whoa, there's a decommitment at Clemson. So I think it goes back to kids that value education. They value structure, discipline, accountability, family, relationships. That's who we are at Clemson and have been for a long time.
Thanks for joining us here on the Fan Upstate in upstate South Carolina. Coach, have a great 2023.
Appreciate it.
Great
Thank
seeing
you, guys.
Coach,
Good to be with y'all.
So there you go. Our interview yesterday with Dabo Swinney, head coach of the Clemson Tigers, right here on the Fan Upstate. And look, we got 8 minutes, but we got 6.5 minutes out of that. Texter said, Rob, you should have let the intrusive thoughts win. Trust me, if I did not have Cabe walking to the table to sit down in front of us for our 8 minutes with him, yeah, I probably, worst case scenario, I'd have just walked next to that guy's table and just gone, yeah, as many times as I could before I got the boot. But I didn't want to tank the interview with Cade Klubnik. So we stuck around for that, which, by the way, we'll play for you coming up in the next segment. We sat down with Cade Klubnik, starting quarterback next year. We sat down with Will Putnam, starting offensive lineman for the Tigers next year. We'll see if we can get both of those interviews in for you coming up in the next segment. My name is Ron. Texter said, you should have crop dusted that table. See, that's why we keep the text line open, y'all. Right there. That's why we keep the text line open. Again, had I had that opportunity, I would have. I walked over there when our interview with Kay was done. That guy was gone, Jack. Gone. And I figured he would be. Back after this on the Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate. All right, guys, give it 30 seconds. We'll be right back. Alonzo, we are influencers. Maybe not in the way that we want to be, but I was just informed by the Madre that the nephew, who is 5, came home from Donut Day, walked into the house where our show was playing on the Madre's Alexa, heard me go, yeah, yeah, and is now running around the house screaming, yeah, yeah, at everything. So, we're just here to make the world a better place, ladies and gentlemen. Yesterday, we got the chance to sit down with Dabo and Cade. We played you that Dabo Swinney interview in the last segment. Now, we bring to you our 7.5-minute conversation with the new starting quarterback of the Clemson Tigers. This was yesterday's discussion with Cade Klubnik. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are now joined here on the Fan Upstate by new Clemson starting quarterback Cade Klubnik, working his way through the ACC Media Days circus. How we feeling, big fella?
Feeling great.
I love it.
Great. Excited to be here.
Yeah, for sure. You get the first time to really step in front of all the cameras, all the lights. You feeling good? You feeling confident? And is that going to translate over to the football field in a few weeks?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Feeling great. Feeling super excited for this team right now. Just the way that I've been able to see them work right now, it's on another level. So,
Cade Klubnik joining us here on the
Cade
Fan
said,
Upstate. Cade, in our field, just like yours, right? You feel like you can never be
Keep in mind, the stream can hear you.
I don't care.
Okay.
Cade said, yeah.
You're ready for the shoes that you're going to fill and step into this fall. Do you think you'll have like this aha moment, or will it be more of a process?
Yeah, it's something that doesn't happen overnight. It's something that, it just stacks on top of each other, right? So it's something that, you wake up one morning and you just get to work every day. You really do. And it's something that just you trust in the people around you to make you better. And so.
Cade, I don't have to sit here and tell you the list of great Clemson quarterbacks over the past handful of years. We also saw what happened with a guy that I interviewed here twice and very much liked in DJ Uiagalelei. Obviously didn't work out the way we'd have liked it to. So there's pressure that comes with being in this position at this school with the expectations that come along with that role. How have you mentally prepared yourself for that? Do you feel that you're prepared for that when the season gets underway?
Yeah, talking about expectations, the expectation is at Clemson every year is to, ultimately win a national championship. And I'm not going to shy away from the fact that we had a great year last year, 11-3 ACC champions in a great league. I think that there's a lot of teams that would love to have that portfolio from last year, but that's our standard is a little bit higher than that at Clemson. I think that's what sets us apart, and that's what separates us. So when we get out there this year, we're going to have goals a little bit greater.
You're somebody, Cade, who's very open about his faith, and I was wondering if you could share a little bit about the role God has in your life and how that aligns with the vision Dabo has for Clemson football.
Yeah, for me, my faith is really everything to me. I know that I'm more than a football player, and I know that, if a game doesn't go my way or it does go my way, that doesn't determine my week. That doesn't determine the next day or the next week or the next month, because I know that I'm more than that. I know that obviously I am a football player, but that's not all I am, and God made me to be a football player. Sorry, God didn't make me to be a football player, but he made me to play football. And that's something that I do, but it's not who I am.
Being told that we'll be getting a call at
obviously I
11:30.
love the game so much, but my true purpose here is to use the platform that he's given me to tell more people about Jesus. So
okay. We're talking with Cade Klubnik, starting quarterback for the Clemson Tigers here on the Fan Upstate. And Cade, obviously, this conference, I think, has the potential this year to be the best it has been in a very long time, maybe ever. I really like that works Cade. out great. Duke was 9-3 and like 15 points away from being undefeated last year. North Carolina is really pointed in a great direction. I think you guys are going to face the deepest conference you've ever faced.
Right.
I know
It's the second segment. We've only taken one break.
Right. So we'll come out of this interview, go to that same impression, and is it changing the way that you're approaching both the
so here's where the confusion
and all the games that
out of this thing we're going to
yeah,
break.
you look at this league and you just keep looking around and you're like,
out of this,
it's only going uphill.
Out of that interview, we got to break. Out of that break, we come back.
It's a fantastic league with lots of great teams. But when it comes to us and our preparation, we just take it one day at a time. We take it 1 week at a time, and we're starting with Duke week 1. And that's who we're paying attention to. That's who we're looking to. We're not looking past that. And we start fall camp on Wednesday, and we're ready for that. And we're gonna go after it with all we got. And we're gonna play whoever they give in front of us.
Cade Klubnik joining us. Cade, we just had Dabo tell us that when he recruits, he actually spends a lot of time talking kids out of coming to Clemson. There's a hard vetting process. I've spoken to your high school coach about you from Westlake High School.
Yeah.
How does a kid from Texas end up at Clemson when Dabo's trying to talk you out of committing to Clemson?
Man, it was the easiest choice I've ever made. It really was. The culture, the people, the history of winning. Coach Sweeney
comment from the little brother.
and just the faith-based organization that he leads. It was the easiest choice ever. And I didn't feel at peace about going anywhere else in the country. And I'm so happy.
Don't worry, Sean. I would have caught it.
15 years
We
so
have
far, so good.
obviously interacting with fans around the upstate.
I've dumped him
Cade.
before.
Clemson fans, man, they love you so far, right? And there's a lot of belief and a lot of faith in you. In fact, we had one Clemson fan tell me, I love him like a golden retriever puppy. He's got that kind of energy, and I love the kid, and I'm going to be there. What has your relationship been with Clemson fans so far? What is that relationship like away from the football field? Do you feel like this is a community that you've really kind of found yourself being a part of and happy to do so?
It's funny you call me a golden retriever. That's not the first time.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Just full of energy nonstop. But yeah, I mean, I would say with our fans I think we got the best fans in the country. They're so good, and they're great. They're showing up 85,000 people every single week. That's you can't ask for much more than that. But I mean, when it comes to listening to people's opinions and stuff like that, it's the same people that, it's the same people that are loving you that are hating you. And it just depends on how you're doing. And so it's so important for me to just have a tight circle and just a group of guys that they can hold me like bumpers in a bowling lane. Just keep my eyes straight and not listen to outside noise too much. But yeah, I love our fans.
Cade, what's one thing you plan to do different and better this year, or said another way, rewriting this year from last year?
Yeah, I mean, just continue to be a great leader. I feel like I didn't really have that role last year, which is totally understandable. But just that's been my favorite thing about this spring and this summer is just really stepping into a role that I haven't really had before at Clemson. So it's been great to have, and just in more of a football type of way, just continue to work on pocket presence, patience in the pocket. Patience in route concepts, and just trusting my guys.
Talk to me about that concept of being a leader. I mean, for me, as I'm now an old fat guy, like the concept of being a leader can be tough to understand when you're a young man, when you're still kind of finding yourself as you are. So when it comes to being a leader, whether you've learned it from Dabo or whoever else, can you kind of give me what you mean by I need to be a leader for this football team?
Yeah, it's a guy that leads by action, leads by example. It's being early, it's staying late. It's when somebody pulls up to the facility, they see that my car's there first. They see that my car's there last. And it's a guy that's pushing others to be the best that they can be. And then being vocal when needed. And it's always encouragement, not discouragement, because pushing somebody down and saying, dude, why are you doing that? Like there's a difference between holding somebody accountable and just kind of being a jerk sometimes. So just bringing guys up and making.
Hey, this is the Maggot Hotline. Who do you think we got on the?
Cade, he is a Chihuahua, and I'm a pocket poodle. I think by the golden retriever, you're doing all right. All right. Great to meet you, man. And all the best to you here in 2023. All right.
Oh yeah, thank y'all so much.
Jake Klubnik, starting
it.
quarterback for the Clemson Tigers here on the Fan Upstate.
So there you go, ladies and gentlemen, our interview with Clemson starting quarterback Cade Klubnik. We move from one interview to the next, and boy, howdy, am I excited about this one. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the Rob Brown Show right here on the Fan Upstate. He is a WWE Hall of Famer. He is a living legend. He is Sergeant Slaughter. Welcome to the show, sir. How do you do?
I'm doing great. And it's not ladies and gentlemen, it's maggots and maggots.
I love it. I love it. Welcome to the show. We are ever so glad to have you, man. How's life? What's up in the life of Sergeant Slaughter?
Oh man, it's busy. I just came back from San Diego for the San Diego Comic-Con, and it was crazy out there, but we got it done, and we're back getting ready to get in the Slaughtermobile and head down to Greenville, South Carolina from our home base here in Charlotte, North Carolina, here at the Slaughterhouse. And we're going to be over at Borderlands Comics and Games on Sunday from 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. And I want all the maggots to come by and bring all their wrestling and G.I. Joe collectibles and get them signed.
There you go. Borderlands, by the way, Borderlands Comics and Games, 410 South Pleasantburg Drive right here in Greenville. You need to check it out. All right, Sergeant Slaughter, I'm glad that you answered the phone the way you did, because I was trying to figure out, do I call you Mr. Sergeant Slaughter or just, I was a little confused there about how to do that. I have a question for you, and this is something I've been pondering for a while. Back in the day when Hulk Hogan made a little bit of a turn and went with the NWA, it was considered one of the most impactful turns in all of wrestling. But I would say that another turn was more impactful to me as a kid back in the 80s. It was when a certain sergeant decided to turn heel, and I was completely shocked by that. I'm curious, when that came about, were you concerned to the degree about the kind of hate that you were going to get, considering what was going on in the world when this turn happened?
Well, number one, you can call me drill instructor. That's my title. Don't call me sir. I work for a living. But anyway, I was always played the villain pretty much all my career, and then I did a turn to be the hero against the Iron Sheik in 1984, I believe it was, and declared war on him, and that sparked a lot of people to start getting on Sergeant Slaughter's bandwagon, and G.I. Joe enlisted me into being the first living G.I. Joe in their history. And so I went to G.I. Joe and left the WWF behind. And when I came back 6 years later, Vince McMahon, I felt didn't really think that was such a good thing for me to do, because WrestleMania 1 was being built, and it was supposed to be Hulk Hogan and I against Roddy Piper and Mr. Wonderful in the main event. But Sergeant Slaughter went AWOL from WWF, so I think he was a little bit angry about that. So when I came back, he decided that he wanted to go to WrestleMania 7 and have me as the ultimate villain, which I thought he was going to have me as the ultimate hero when I came back, since I just had been the all-American hero, the real American hero with G.I. Joe for 6 years. But so he asked me if I would consider being an Iraqi sympathizer. It was all his idea. And it made me kind of stand there and wonder if I should do this or not. And then I said, that was my favorite characters, was being the villain. So I said, okay, let's go. And that's how it all started out. It wasn't my idea, but that's what he wanted to do. So I don't do anything half-ass. I do it all the way. So it got pretty hot and heavy, and a lot of death threats, and I got stabbed 4 times. Got the acid thrown on me. I got numerous times I got sprayed with mace, but it just was one of those things that happened, and they asked me to do it, and I did it.
I was about to ask, I had read somewhere that for a while you had to go out with bulletproof vest on, and then you hit me with acid and mace, Sergeant Slaughter.
Yeah. Everything happened. I got hit over the head with chairs. That was when they started beefing up the security systems in all the arenas and put the steel guard railings around to help a little bit. I was always pretty much in the ring. My poor manager, General Adnan, was always on the outside of the ring, and I was always keeping one eye on his back and one eye on my opponent. So it was some pretty rough times. I wasn't able to go on airplanes through the airport, through the terminal. I would have a group of people that would pick me up, take me to the airport in a limousine or a car, and I would go up the stairs of the airplane before anybody got on. And when the people got on to the airplane, I was already on there. And then when we landed, whatever city we were in, I would wait for everybody to get off the plane, and they would pull the tarmac back, and I would go down the steps of the plane again and get in another entourage of cars and go to either the arena or to my hotel. And that's kind of the way we had to do it because there were so many death threats. And Vince McMahon didn't want to take a chance of anything happening. So he had 4 armed guards with weapons walking the perimeter of my property 24/7 for about 4 months when I was gone away from home, from the home barracks.
We are talking with Hall of Famer and legend Sergeant Slaughter here on the Rob Brown Show and the Fan Upstate. So we mentioned that feud, which I think is arguably the most infamous of your career. But as a fan, one of my favorite was the redemption story afterwards. Jim Duggan got a save from you, and then the two of you guys put together a team against the Nasty Boys. Obviously, you feuded against your former manager at the time. If I had to ask you, outside of the run as the bad guy, if I'd ask you what your favorite feud from your career was, or your favorite tag team, just your favorite point of work outside of that run would be, what would that be?
Well, the first match that I really put a medal on my chest for was the alley fight with Pat Patterson. It was a match in Madison Square Garden in 1981. And it was a match where there was you could wear whatever you wanted to wear into the ring. There were no rules. There was no count out. Falls counted anywhere. And the big topper in the whole thing was that there was no referee. So it was one of those matches where the people knew that something was going to happen between Pat Patterson and I, because all our other matches ended up in disqualifications or count outs or never any finish. So when I was walking about ready to walk out to the ring, I said to my manager, the General Ernie Roth, I called him the General. I said, Ernie, I got a question for you. He said, yes, Sarge, what is it? I said, how does this match end? And he said, you know, I never gave that a thought. There's no referee. And he said, I'll be right back. So he left for about 5 minutes, came back, and music started playing. And he said, don't worry about it, kid. I got you covered. And so we had this incredible match. It was called Hardcore Before Hardcore, the greatest match of all time in Madison Square Garden. And when the going got pretty rough for both of us, Pat Patterson and I, all of a sudden, I was fighting my way back into the ring, and I saw this towel come flying in. I said, no, who threw that towel in? That means I'm surrendering. And I said, I'm not done. I want to go. And they kept pulling me down off the apron and dragging me back to the dressing room. I said, who threw that towel in? And Ernie said, I did, Sarge, I did. And I said, why'd you do that? He says, you're bleeding half to death. I don't want you to die out there. I said, no, you don't understand. He said, don't worry, kid. You just became the greatest villain of all time. Those people know that you didn't give up. I threw the towel in. And whenever you decide to go the other way again, they're going to be behind you 150%. And he was right. From that point on, everybody knew that Sergeant Slaughter was one tough SOB, and he never surrendered. So when I went up against the Iron Sheik, that's what made that so gigantic, was because they knew Sergeant Slaughter was coming to fight the Iron Sheik from Iran and we were battling each other, but we were fighting for our countries. So that's what really sparked everything. And I'd have to say that match and my boot camp match with the Iron Sheik in Madison Square Garden, what they say was, again, another one of those greatest matches of all time in Madison Square Garden. But those were the two of the highlight matches. Other than, I'd have to say the all-time ultimate match was Don Coronado and I wrestling Ricky Steamboat and Jay Youngblood in the cage match in Greensboro, North Carolina. I'd have to say that was probably the biggest accomplishment in my professional wrestling career.
We're talking with Sergeant Slaughter, who's going to be at Borderlands Comics and Games this Sunday, 410 South Pleasantburg Drive. You said you just came back from San Diego Comic-Con. When you're at these cons, what do you get recognized the most from? Is it from wrestling or is it from G.I. Joe?
It's pretty much both. But the thing that really surprises me, it's been going on for a long time, is the celebrities that come over and want to get a picture with Sergeant Slaughter. They're all fans, and most of them are, main attraction artists, actors and actresses, and a lot of rock stars. A lot of people in the rock business. Everybody wants to be a professional wrestler, and we are actually, pretty much what they are. We're actors, but we don't have somebody doing our stunts for us. We do the same thing they do. We tell a story. We do it inside a steel or a square circle, and we're doing the same thing they're doing on a set, but we don't have somebody falling and taking the crashes for us and all those things. So, everybody wants to be a professional wrestler. I wanted to be a professional wrestler when I was 4 or 5 years old. Didn't realize I was ever going to be one, but those are the things that really, it's got to where I'm getting used to it now. I'll look up and here comes 2 or 3 celebrities over, and they want to get a picture of Sergeant Slaughter, and most of them want to get the Cobra Clutch. But you got to be careful with that.
I know some people here at the station who I would love to see you do that too, but
we're talking with Hall of
I'll
Famer.
be by. I'll come by right before I get to Borderlands or Sunday.
Deal. I'll accept it. Sergeant Slaughter here on the Rob Brown Show. All right, we got about another minute here, Sarge. So Lonzo and I we're both big wrestling fans. We've been lifelong fans, and I kind of think we're at this interesting point in wrestling where we have gone from larger than life characters to wrestlers portraying exaggerated versions of their real life selves on TV, but we're also seeing the return of long-term booking, long-term storylines, dramatic storylines that end in these blowout matches. If I gave you right now the power to change one thing about the way that wrestling is presented to us as fans today, what would that one thing be?
I would like to see it go back to the old storytelling where 2 wrestlers got in the ring, and one was the general and one was the private. And anybody that's ever been in the wrestling ring knows what I'm talking about. And I think they just need to slow it back down a little bit. I mean, how much higher can they go? It's getting to be more like going to watch a circus to me, but everything evolves, everything gets bigger, and the WWE paved the path. The wrestlers, like myself, we paved that yellow brick road for all those that travel behind us. But it seems like they're taking a detour off that yellow brick road, and they're not giving the wrestling fan what they really want to see. They're just doing what they want to do. So you always got to listen to your audience. You have to listen to your crowd, your fans, and see what they want. And if that's what they want, you got to go that direction. But it can't go any higher or any more aerial, because somebody's going to have to start coming off the ceiling of the arenas to get a reaction from the fans. But it's all in stages. Everything goes in stages, but eventually it's going to have to work its way back to where it all began, where people want to watch this with their families and make it, more of a family outing than just seeing go, 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 go. It can't be done. Can't be done.
This is WWE Hall of Famer Sergeant Slaughter joining us here on the Rob Brown Show. He is going to be at Borderlands Comics and Games this weekend. Looking forward to getting the chance to come out and meet you, Sergeant Slaughter. Thank you so much for taking the time, sir.
Thank you for having me. And I want all the people out there that are listening that are going to come by Borderlands on Sunday to keep listening to Rob here on The Fan. And that's in order. Don't make me have to come looking for you. Yo, Joe.
Let's go. Let's go. Thank you very much, Sergeant Slaughter, here on the Rob Brown Show and the Fan Upstate. We got to run to a break. We're back to wrap it up after this on the Rob Brown Show and the Fan Upstate. Caught the unrequested listen, and I talked over it.
You did. And I didn't get my name mentioned, but I'm so happy for you that he did it. We can fix it. We can fix it. He even tried to fix it, and you talked over it again. What are you doing?
Oh, man.
Expect more out of you.
I expect more out of myself.
So we knew that was coming. He was just running a little bit late, so we didn't want to tease it. I almost said, hang on the phone, Mr. Sergeant Slaughter. Sir?
Staples, you can also get $250 off select computers. N729 in-store only. See associate for details. Don't miss the final days of end-of-season deals during the truckload event at Lowe's. Right now, save on major appliances and get an additional 10% off in-store clearance appliances. Plus, you can get up to 35% off select tools.
Wow, that's so cool. I mean, again, as a kid growing up, watching some of these guys, some of these legends, not realizing I'm going to get a chance to talk to them, As angry as I get about some things around here, that's so cool. It really is. And all the, well, I'm a host and I don't. It's okay to be a fanboy. I mean, it really is. And Rob is legitimately mad at himself. And he should be. Let's see what kind of digital magic we can do to fix that, though.
Stop by my office after your show text. See ya. See ya.
No, it'll be about me.
No,
more than anything. It will be.
It's going to be a Kinginson's such a fanboy. Yes. Yes, I botched the end of that interview. I admit that. I did not know he was going to cut a promo, though.
Your home is the place where you know your loved ones are secure. But the things that keep your home protected can't keep pests at bay. That's where RAID comes in. For 60 years, RAID scientists have worked to protect people around the world. With trusted research, ingredients, testing standards, and product efficacy, RAID seeks to create a better future for all, especially the ones you love most. RAID, protection for all.
When you see a roach over there, you want it gone.
Unless you tell me otherwise, I'm skipping Twitter because we only got a couple of minutes, and we should mention where he's going to be again, and
cut that promo.
And also talk about how cool that was. Right here on Maggot Radio.
Maggot Radio. Marking out is understandable. Yes.
Because I was talking about how I don't care what those guys who say, I'm a host on that. You know, it's okay to be a fan, guys. It really is.
I botched that ending so hard. He was cutting a promo for us, and I talked over it like an idiot.
I'm telling you, I can fix it. Okay,
God, I hope so.
We're
the
good.
Magic Wizard of Wave.
I will do that. I'm award winning. I don't know if you knew that. I can take care of it. That is so. Again, as a kid, I was a teenager at the time, a big time G.I. Joe fan, big time wrestling fan. Used to watch with my papa all the time. And one of the coolest parts of radio is getting the chance to talk to not only the up and coming or the present stars in wrestling, but getting the chance to talk to legends like Sergeant Slaughter, who will be at Borderlands Comics and Games, 410 South Pleasantburg Drive, 2:00 Sunday. I believe it's 2 to 5. Come and check it out if you want to see what he looks like in person and get to see him and salute. And I don't know if he'll camel clutch you, but you might deserve it.
Am I asking for it? I think I am, right?
Todd, Twisted Todd, has a picture of it. He was in studio before.
I think I'm asking for it.
Yeah, you got to. I think you do.
I think I am.
It's not like when we ask when we wanted Gunther to chop you. I mean, it's not the same thing.
All right, we are obviously putting the kibosh on X trending topics. My bird's gone, Lonzo. It's just that the bird's gone.
Yeah, well, I mean,
the bird is dead. Long live the bird.
We had to talk about that. That's just so cool. It really is.
Sergeant Slaughter. How about Lonzo coming through and getting that one hooked up?
No, it's the fine people over at Borderlands Comics and Games. That's
it is, but it's because of the Upstate Pulse, which you can listen to tomorrow night from 7 to 9 on our sister station, WORD. Also want to remind you that tomorrow, 9 to 11 we will be live at Carolina Panther training camp on the air. And then tomorrow from noon to 4. Bet for the Cycle on the BetQL Network. Y'all have a great weekend. Don't drink and drive. I'll punch you in the face. Have a lovely rest of your day. We'll see you back here Monday to do it all over again, but better on the Rob Brown Show and the Fan Upstate. Later. Yeah. All right, guys, I have been summoned by the boss, so I'm going to go run over there and do that. Thank you guys so much for hanging out. Hope you enjoyed the show. We will be back here Monday. Have a great weekend. For those I see you, I'll see you. For those I don't, see you Monday.